Colonel Kim's boots hit the ground as Captain Chulam Park snaps to attention, but this isn't a routine military briefing. Young Jeongjeom Kim's nervous introduction barely masks the terror in his voice. They're not just heading to China. They're flying directly into apocalypse territory, where monsters rule the skies and survival depends on one man's impossible engineering skills. The CGOJ gleams under dying sunlight twice the speed of a Black Hawk, yet somehow modified by a single engineer. Captain Park's enthusiasm can't hide the impossible truth. How does one man upgrade military aircraft in a world overrun by monsters? The modifications aren't complete, but time is running out. One engineer, just one. The group exchanges stunned glances as James approaches through the industrial shadows, muscular, rugged, wearing torn clothes like battle scars. His name carries weight here. Eccentric doesn't begin to describe someone who can single-handedly modify aircraft. Is this even humanly possible? James emerges from the smoke like a ghost of the old world, boots echoing against concrete. The blue glow in his hand isn't just a tool, it's proof of something beyond normal human capability. A thunderous slam splits the air as he reveals his secret. The modifications aren't visible from the outside, but what he's added will change everything. Colonel Kim studies the engineer with growing amazement and unease. This man possesses skills that shouldn't exist in their broken world. The sunset casts long shadows as Kim's thoughts race. How did James achieve such mastery after the apocalypse began? Those aren't just mad skills, they're impossibly evolved abilities that defy explanation. The supply distribution tells a darker story. While James received food and equipment, most survivors cling to shadows, facing starvation and terror daily. The Amana stone should have eliminated language barriers, but it revealed something more disturbing. James isn't average. He's something else entirely, operating in a world where desperation has become the norm. James stares at the steaming noodles with complete indifference, claiming he's full. The chef's masterpiece means nothing to him. Pax watches in bewilderment, who turns down food in an apocalypse. James's disinterest in sustenance reveals his true obsession. Only machines capture his attention now. As twilight paints the sky purple, the dark-haired observer studies James with growing fascination. This rugged engineer shows no interest in food but perks up at mention of Pax technology. Perhaps James harbors dreams and ambitions beyond survival, maybe even vehicles that can fly. There's depth beneath that weathered exterior. Captain Park approaches with calculated persuasion, offering James sanctuary and purpose. Motorcycles, trucks, safety from monsters, everything a survivor could want. But James's weathered face hardens with suspicion. Trust doesn't come easily in their shattered world. His sharp rejection cuts through Park's friendly facade like a blade. On the rooftop as dusk settles, the younger man's anxiety shows clearly. He admits his real motive, believing their abilities would complement each other perfectly. The muscular engineer listens intently, then drops his bombshell condition. He'll help, but only if they take him back to America. The stakes just shifted dramatically. Against the burning sunset, James contemplates the impossible bargain. His powers in exchange for passage to the States. The dark-haired negotiator presses deeper. Is family keeping him here? James's indifferent expression masks deeper calculations. In their broken world, even the strongest bonds become negotiating chips. James accepts the timeline with casual indifference, but the young leader's confident smile triggers something extraordinary. Bright blue energy erupts from his hand as he promises to take James home. The startled reactions around them hint at power beyond imagination. That swirling energy suggests an explosion of possibilities is about to unfold. Mechanical sounds echo through the air as Captain Park reveals his signing bonus. Every machine, every vehicle now belongs to James, his to dismantle and rebuild as he pleases. The engineer's intrigue is obvious as he surveys his new arsenal. This partnership promises to reshape their chances of survival in ways neither fully understands yet. The display of power leaves everyone stunned. A massive parking area filled with military vehicles appears as if from nothing, the extent of one man's dimensional abilities finally revealed. While the young leader basks in his achievement, confusion ripples through the group. James had already vanished, distributing food to security soldiers, operating by his own mysterious agenda. The aircraft streaks across the sunset sky with a powerful roar, but below in the city, something sinister stirs. Shadows creep up building walls accompanied by ominous clicking sounds. As the sun disappears, a creature moves stealthily across urban architecture. The mission to China just became infinitely more dangerous. A massive green praying mantis crawls between skyscrapers, its articulated limbs preparing to strike. The city chokes on dust and smoke as the young communications officer nervously reports their landing approach. His headset crackles with static. Above them, an aircraft trails smoke. Their arrival has already attracted the wrong kind of attention. A brilliant blue portal tears through reality, crackling with electrical energy. From the swirling vortex steps an armored figure with golden accents, his commanding presence immediately felt. As his boots hit the debris-strewn ground, he calls for his lord to emerge safely. Another armored warrior with glowing red eyes responds casually, adding unexpected humor to the tense moment. The heavily armored figure complains about his uncomfortable gear while desperately hoping to avoid the giant bugs. His nervous companion shares the same fear. Toxic gas is bad enough without adding massive insects to their problems. They point toward the horizon where something significant awaits. A robed figure approaches, formally greeting their anticipated Korean allies. A haunting declaration echoes through the fog-shrouded city as an ominous presence makes itself known. The skyline of a metropolis emerges through the mist, dominated by a building marked ILLITON. A dark-haired figure in flowing robes steps from a doorway, his expression mixing resolve with deep apprehension. The wind howls around him like a warning. In the humble room's warm light, the tall robed figure expresses relief about avoiding insect encounters. His armored guests seem pleased with their reception. But suddenly, dramatic text signals a crucial turning point. An elderly man and his companion channel swirling blue energy between their hands, the mystical power building with ominous intensity. The exhausted man gasps for air, dark circles under his eyes, revealing his ordeal with toxic gas. His labored breathing echoes through the stone chamber. The hooded figure explains how they've cleansed the poison using inner power, abilities that awakened when monsters invaded their world. A flashback shows a warrior crackling with electric energy, representing humanity's desperate evolution. The formal explanation continues as mystical abilities are compared across different groups. A muscular warrior meditates in brilliant blue flames, his calm expression showing mastery over forces beyond normal comprehension. The visual contrast is striking. While some possess unique dimensional powers, martial artists channel energy in fundamentally different ways, each path offering its own form of salvation. Mistblade introduces himself with grim determination, leader of the awakened martial artists, summoned by the government to combat otherworldly threats. His long hair flows as he explains their small but crucial role among ability users. The foggy cityscape behind him emphasizes the gravity of their situation. Their enemy originates from the Beelzebul dimension itself. The briefing reveals their desperate situation. Facing massive creature populations, they lack crucial intelligence about their enemy. The armored figure explains the poison's terrifying intensity. Detoxification drains so much energy that fighters cannot battle simultaneously. Giant grasshoppers and spiders multiply exponentially, turning their world into a nightmare of chittering death. The situation grows more dire as toxic gas spreads relentlessly. Time runs out with every passing moment. The exhausted fighter questions whether fresh air can provide the energy they desperately need. Despite the pressing circumstances, the long-haired leader remains calm, while another ally demonstrates their readiness by summoning glowing energy. Hope flickers amid the chaos. A brilliant plan takes shape as cans of Girison air float around the thoughtful strategist. Each container bears mountain imagery, promising pure atmosphere in their poisoned world. He visualizes using laboratory functions to enhance distribution, imagining automatic shipping directly to meditating martial artists. His amused expression suggests this chaotic delivery method might actually work. The martial artist reacts with lightning reflexes, dodging as a massive insect attacks. His body leans forward in desperate evasion, while debris scatters from his powerful counterblast. The industrial training ground echoes with the sounds of combat. He catches his breath afterward, focused and weary, embodying the exhausting reality of their endless battle for survival. Fresh, clean air floods the space as fighters exhale in amazement. The contrast is immediate from toxic suffocation to life-giving atmosphere. Their surprised expressions show genuine relief as energy returns to their bodies. A confident figure in a dark cloak leads the renewal, his smile indicating the tide has turned. Hope replaces desperation as they feel strength flowing back. Confusion spreads as the robed figure stares at Jeongjeom's glowing portal, perplexed by this impossible rescue. The blue energy intensifies with mechanical sounds and whooshes of power. He gasps in recognition, remembering their first encounter with these abilities. The cityscape in the background hints at the broader implications of this dimensional gateway opening in their darkest hour. Urgent phone conversations reveal the military coordination behind their rescue. Colonel Kim prepares to depart this evening, ready to provide assistance against the otherworldly threat. The serious discussion highlights Korean troops' willingness to enter the housing area despite enormous risks. Leadership weighs heavily as they contemplate their own arrogance in the face of such unprecedented danger. In the misty atmosphere, the martial artist turns respectfully toward the tall figure in the long coat. Gratitude flows as he promises never to forget this crucial help. The long-haired man responds with grim honesty. Prolonged fighting would have been disastrous, but the incredible dimensional ability has restored their inner power. Their bond deepens through shared purpose and mutual respect. Soft streams of light illuminate their serious strategic discussion. The contemplative leader suggests taking 3 days to prepare for their decisive move. His companion accepts the timeline, acknowledging the need for proper recovery. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to energetic eating in the kitchen. Clattering dishes and enthusiastic slurping provide comedic relief from the weighty planning session. A thumbs-up sparkles with approval as the enthusiastic young man in traditional robes exclaims his excitement. The mood shifts to tactical planning as another character approaches the whiteboard, ready to discuss bug elimination strategies. He draws pictures of roaches, flies, and moths while explaining size variations, his red pen marking crucial details about flying insects. The lecture continues with explanations about bug rankings. Common insects likely 8th rank, powerful-looking ones probably 7th rank. The audience listens intently as gate locations are discussed. Suddenly, armored figures burst in with urgent news. Loud crashes and creaking sounds from outside shatter the academic atmosphere, signaling immediate danger approaching their building. The martial artist turns toward the long-coated figure as a concerned youth asks what's wrong. The armored messenger struggles to describe the terrifying creature that's arrived, suggesting it's a 7th-rank monster based on appearance alone. The ground begins rumbling ominously. A massive, segmented creature becomes visible, confirming their worst fears about what approaches. In the mountain cave, an enormous orange centipede appears with rumbling menace. Its many legs move with disturbing speed as characters react with disgust and concern. One fighter admits finding centipedes disgusting even at normal size. A giant one is pure nightmare fuel. The armored expert identifies it as 8th rank, though its intimidating appearance suggests even higher danger levels. The enthusiastic discussion about insects continues as a confident girl in gray jacket strides forward, ready for action after days without exercise. She playfully interacts with surprised companions, declaring her intention to show the centipede their true strength. The training facility buzzes with competitive energy as friendly rivalry builds toward the impending confrontation. The confident brother reassures everyone about his sister's ridiculous strength, but tension erupts when someone asks about yang gas preparation. A swift movement accompanied by whooshing sounds leads to an electrifying blast. The scene explodes into animated chaos as one character powerfully strikes another, dramatically escalating the action from conversation to violent confrontation. The martial artist expresses deep concern about the girl's safety during battle. Despite her exceptional powers, poisonous gas poses a lethal threat, while the centipede's sturdy shell resists most attacks. He declares his intention to fight the monster directly, with Long Quan preparing to assist. A sudden loud crash interrupts their strategy session, startling everyone present. A shocked observer stares wide-eyed as electric blue energy crackles through the air. The attack impacts the centipede's vibrant orange shell with explosive force, while a triumphant figure stands wreathed in swirling power. The girl exclaims her victory with pure joy, but serious observers question how someone without inner power knowledge achieved such devastating results against the creature's shell. The revelation hits like lightning. Could she possess divine anatomy? The young man's shock is immediately replaced by urgent concern as the girl begins coughing, clearly overexerted by her incredible display. She clutches her fists defiantly amid the chaos, while a loud thud indicates continuing danger. The situation demands immediate healing assistance from Long Quan. The strategic briefing reveals their desperate timeline. Standing confidently at the whiteboard, the leader outlines 3 critical challenges: the poisonous atmosphere, overwhelming creature numbers, and their 3-day deadline to close the dimensional gate. The seated fighters' anxious expressions reflect the gravity of approaching the gate's core location under such impossible conditions. In the dimly lit training room, the martial artist discusses strengthening their forces with the surprised girl. She questions the necessity of a duel, but remains open to learning quickly. He proposes training through combat as the most efficient method given their time constraints. Her gratitude for being healed mingles with determination to master new techniques rapidly. The confident young man warns his opponent not to blame him if she gets hurt, gripping his hands tightly with serious commitment. She accepts the challenge with simple determination. He charges forward with explosive energy, motion lines emphasizing his speed as he declares his attack. Onlookers witness the high-stakes engagement with vibrant sound effects raging through the geometric-patterned room. The long-haired swordsman expresses disappointment that the sister doesn't practice sword fighting, revealing his own expertise. The younger man seems surprised by the offer to learn swordsmanship, initially hesitant but growing excited. An eager, bespectacled friend appears, already holding a sword and clearly interested in the training opportunity being discussed. Sword instruction begins with proper grip technique, as the guide emphasizes martial artists' adaptability despite lacking inner power. Dynamic scenes show energetic sprinting enhanced by barriers. A bruised fighter with short brown hair delivers an aggressive punch with fiery impact, while concentration and determination shine through every movement. The training arena pulses with kinetic energy. Standing against glowing blue energy, the martial artist reflects on their strengthened powers thanks to fresh Jirisan air. He recognizes the need for personal evolution to match their enhanced abilities. With abundant materials available, he plans to forge weapons capable of eliminating all the bugs. The parallel dimension upgrade opens new possibilities for their desperate fight. The contemplative engineer examines his failed bug zapper attempt, acknowledging its ineffectiveness against larger insects. A menacing black and red creature looms in the background, representing the challenge he faces. His worried expression reveals the engineering difficulties he encounters, regretting his lack of technical knowledge while feeling increasingly helpless against the mounting costs. In the sterile lab environment, the practical young man expresses his desire to create effective bug spray against huge monsters. Siren enters with enthusiasm, her chestnut hair catching the bright lighting as she confidently offers to help make the spray. Her unexpected expertise surprises him, sparking a moment of realization about collaborative possibilities in their fight for survival. The narrative reveals how families entered the parallel dimension during their darkest struggles. 3 survivors share warm memories despite past hardships, carefully rationed food balanced by Sion's alchemist abilities providing drinking water. Tears of joy mixed with forgotten details create bittersweet recollections. The cheerful girl reminds everyone not to underestimate her powers, their camaraderie shining through shared resilience and hope. The dark-haired martial artist tilts his head in confusion. What kind of bug spray exactly? Behind him, a massive armored insect looms like death itself. The confident woman crosses her arms, her answer sending chills through the sterile room. The ultimate overpowered bug spray to wipe out all the bugs out there. But as movement cuts through the air with a sharp swish, one question burns. Will any spray be enough against these monsters? 3 days of hell have passed like lightning. A cockroach crawls through the debris as a massive grasshopper clicks its mandibles in alertness. The cloaked figure races through the chaos, his dark hair flowing as pure inner power rushes from his core. Every advancement made possible thanks to Jeongjeom's sacrifice. But the clicking grows louder, and something terrible stirs in the shadows. The hooded warrior's voice cuts through the tension. Everyone prepare for battle, but his companion struggles with gratitude. How could he ever repay such sacrifice? Just when they think they understand the battlefield. Burst. Green liquid erupts from the front lines. Nothing is as straightforward as it seems. The real fight is just beginning. A dramatic splash echoes through the dark realm. The tall figure in flowing black robes stands contemplative under the gloomy sky, his long dark hair catching the dim light. 3 days, he reflects grimly. Where is the key to this world, or I will lose myself? The shadowy figures behind him seem to whisper of darker things to come. Time is running out. It's super effective. The figure in the hazmat suit admires his handiwork. A massive green-flecked insect lies motionless against dark stone. In the brighter lab, Sion showcases rows of containers, explaining her experimental solutions. The dark-haired man expresses genuine gratitude. Her chuckle lightens the mood momentarily. Sometimes the smallest victories feel like miracles. Whoa, the young man's enthusiasm is infectious as he learns about the odorless, human-safe pest killer. A massive grasshopper hisses nearby, FSHHH, reminding them danger never rests. The masked woman warns it might not work against 7th-rank bugs, but it's devastating against smaller threats. You're awesome, Sion. In this hellscape, every small advantage could mean survival. The real challenge begins now. The dark-haired warrior gazes toward Baewang Mountain, beautiful but treacherous. Thanks to their previous allies' help, they navigated Chen's city safely. But this mountain has defeated them before. The gathered team listens intently as their leader's hand gestures with urgent determination. FWIP. Every attempt to reach that gate has ended in failure. Until now. The long-haired warrior voices his concern. Every time they've tried, the mountain's creatures overwhelmed them. Simple beasts lacking intelligence, but they instinctively protect the gate core. His confident teammate reassures everyone. Whatever bugs come at them won't be more than 7th rank. but something in the filtered light through those windows suggests they're underestimating what waits on Baywang Mountain. Holy shit! The figure in the hazmat suit recoils as his eyes widen in terror. Before him looms a massive grasshopper, its bulging red eyes like crimson moons. Gross. We seriously gotta fight this thing. His companion observes casually, that's a grasshopper. How could overgrown bugs reach 7th rank without intelligence? But intelligence isn't everything. Sometimes raw power is enough to crush worlds. The massive insect creature clicks and drools, its green body glistening with menace. It crashes down dramatically, chaos erupting around it. Lancelot once explained how traitorous goblins gained ranks through an instinctive method. A skull wreathed in purple energy illustrates the horrifying truth. These creatures obtain power by consuming others. But why are primitive beasts following such dark paths? The red-skinned demon grins beside the massive green insect, both creatures radiating menace. They kill other fighters and consume their mana stones, a promise sealed in rank and blood. The shadowy figures discuss their formidable enemies in hushed tones. They're so strong they don't even need intelligence. Suddenly, a bright blue energy beam erupts. Flash, clank, thwack. The battle has begun. The enormous green creature's red eyes gleam with anticipation. Number 2 shouts with desperate enthusiasm, "Our turn," as he dashes forward into danger. His armored companion calls out in worry, urging him to take Raki's spear. But even Udu wasn't immune to those deadly beams. The enchantment on that creature defies comprehension. Yet number 2 charges ahead, courage overriding caution. In the dense forest, something rustles among the dark trees. Are the trees moving? The knight in ornate armor celebrates. Yeah, at least the spear works. But the hazmat-suited figure's blood runs cold as realization dawns. Those aren't trees. The crackling noise grows louder. Whatever's hiding among those towering shapes is about to reveal itself. And it's massive. Boom! The insect creature's presence shakes the very air. The hooded figure staggers back. What the hell? Ominous shadows shift in the background as the green and red monster looms impossibly large. Another character stares in disbelief. I didn't know they made them like this in China. But this isn't about geography. This is about something far more terrifying breeding in the darkness. The armored leader with his red helmet gestures urgently to his confused companion. "My lord, we must get on the back of the furry monster." Lancelot's eyes light up with understanding. Awesome idea. Everyone, get on the back of the spider. Quickly. The dark-haired warrior sprints with renewed purpose, leaving a trail of determination. Sometimes the most desperate plans are the only ones that work. Swoosh, the knight carries his white-suited companion as they strategize against the colossal creature. Throw spears at it. He shakes his head grimly. It's absurdly hard, like hell itself. Even his strongest attacks would barely scratch it. The green creature's red eyes gleam with ancient malice. And because it's so enormous, a small mistake could be deadly. They're not just fighting a monster, they're fighting death incarnate. A green dart shoots through the air like a bullet. The girl with long black hair gasps in shock while the armored figure reacts with horror. The enormous insected creature emerges, its red eyes burning like coals as it lets out a piercing scream. The armored warrior's desperate cry echoes through the forest. We're screwed. Sometimes there are no heroic last stands, only terror. Whoosh, the spider-like creature lunges with deadly intent. It's coming for us. The hooded figure screams in terror. Everyone jump off. The robed warrior commands as chaos erupts around them. The creature crashes down, smash, sending shockwaves through the battlefield. The knight grabs his companion's arm in desperation. But when something this massive hunts you, jumping off might not be enough. The man in the brown jacket hears the ominous whooshing and fshhh sounds cutting through the shadows. What's going on? He asks, confusion and dread mixing in his voice. The giant insect appears with its massive red eyes, a predator from nightmares. Crush, chomp. The sounds of violence echo through the darkness. In moments like these, asking questions is a luxury the living can't afford. Chomp, the sound of violence echoes through the shadows. The knight with glowing red eyes stands stoically while his white-suited companion analyzes the situation. Why would it attack an ally? But it's an instinct over intelligence. It recognizes threats but lacks the wisdom to avoid friendly fire. Sometimes the most dangerous enemies are those who can't tell friend from foe. We need to get on the back of the grasshopper this time. The masked figure with the reflective visor makes a desperate dash toward safety. Now's our chance. The girl with long black hair crouches, ready to move. Good, everyone made it. But as relief washes over them, one terrifying question remains. Did the grasshopper notice? In this game of predator and prey, awareness means everything. Notice? The question hangs in the air like a death sentence. The creature's massive red eyes gleam with predatory focus, surrounded by its gritty green exoskeleton. Swish! It strikes downward with terrifying precision. The white-suited character stands amid the chaos, dirt and uncertainty swirling around him. Sometimes the most dangerous moment is when you think you're safe. The white-suited man expresses his confusion. I have no clue why it's not moving. His companion in darker clothes suggests they wait it out, that they don't actually have to fight this colossal beast. As long as they can escape safely, why risk everything? But in the shadows above them, something stirs. Sometimes staying still is the most dangerous choice of all. The giant grasshopper leaps into view, its massive eyes fixed on prey. Whoa! The cloaked figure screams as the creature lands with a thunderous stomp, mud splashing in all directions. The masked character tumbles backward. Aargh! Ow, my back! The swampy terrain provides no mercy as creatures dart toward their targets. When giants hunt, the earth itself becomes a weapon. The hooded figure continues dashing with desperate grace, urging everyone to hop onto the grasshopper. His companion coughs and grunts, oof. My back's gonna get blown apart before we reach the gate core. It's nauseating as hell. Was riding the grasshopper the right choice? As they race through the air, a menacing helicopter-like sound erupts. A giant wasp emerges, its presence promising death from above. The shadowy figure senses impending doom as a massive wasp buzzes nearby. Whoa! The protective-suited observer gasps in awe. That wasp looks like a tough customer, his masked companion notes grimly. Shing. A projectile launches toward the giant wasp. The creature reacts with frantic motion. Whoosh! As death and destruction dance in the dim underground. Tough customers deserve tough responses. Holy crap! The white-suited man recoils as a massive projectile descends like divine judgment. And why Lord? The gray-hooded figure shouts in alarm as chaos erupts. FWIP, clang, the large green creature with burning red eyes hurls into view. Whip, crash, more destruction follows as another character stares in bewilderment. What the? When battles reach this scale, even witnesses become victims. The cloaked figure with mask and goggles watches in amazement. The grasshopper suddenly attacked the wasp. Did it feel threatened? An instinctive reaction, maybe. Whatever it is, I'll take it. The giant green grasshopper's large eyes gleam with predatory hunger as drool escapes its mandibles. Bite that wasp's head off, Hopper. Sometimes your enemy's conflicts become your salvation. The vibrant green grasshopper struggles through the muddy terrain, its determination evident despite losing a leg. F-whip. Oh no, the massive wasp lies on its back, vulnerable but still dangerous. Come on, Hopper, you can do it. The rallying cry echoes across the battlefield. You've lost a leg, but now's your chance. In nature's arena, the wounded can still claim victory. The figure in the dark jumpsuit expresses his desperation. This parasite is killing me. I wish I could operate this bug like a machine. Wait a minute. Operate. He turns to Yangsu with sudden inspiration. A bright magical energy sphere forms around them as realization dawns. Do you know if we can drive bugs like this one? Sometimes the most desperate ideas become the most brilliant solutions. What? The man in black jacket and sunglasses reclines in confusion as events spiral beyond his understanding. "I've secured the ropes," his white-suited companion declares with determination. "The wasp must be tired. It can't get on its feet properly. If anything happens, we can retreat to the parallel dimension." All right, then. Sometimes the best plans are born from pure desperation. Hold on tight. The cloaked figure prepares for action, rope in hand. Yank. The grasshopper's menacing red eyes lock onto the nearby wasp, sizing up its vulnerable opponent. The tension builds to a crescendo as the grasshopper moves in for the kill. Crunch. The sound echoes like thunder across the battlefield. In nature's Colosseum, only the strongest survive to see another dawn. "Yeah, nice." The dark-haired man in traditional clothing cheers enthusiastically as the green grasshopper struggles through the muddy terrain. Dart. Mud flies as the creature charges forward with unstoppable determination. The fierce opponent with frilled antennae charges intimidatingly in response. Crash. The collision shakes the very ground. Sometimes victory requires charging straight into the heart of danger. The menacing mantis with vibrant green coloring splashes through water as it lunges forward, embodying pure predatory grace. Splash. Meanwhile, an armored ant makes mechanical click-click sounds, preparing for battle. Rush. The ant charges as the character in the dark jumpsuit forms a glowing blue energy sphere around himself. As for the ants, eye-beams are more than enough. Confidence meets chaos in this deadly dance. The character in white reflects solemnly on the defeated giant grasshopper sprawled across the dusty battlefield. When my eye-beam attack didn't phase it earlier, I knew this was no joke. But I didn't think it would be such an amazing predator. The hooded figure acknowledges the narrow escape. Only a handful of 7th-ranked beings could defeat this monster. Rest in peace now, big guy. The cloaked figure in white hood and gas mask glances intently as electric blue energy illuminates the chaotic environment. A large aquatic creature squeals in alarm, sensing the impending danger. "All right. Now then." His voice carries deadly determination as he prepares for the final act. "Let's shut down these gates." The atmosphere crackles with magical energy as destiny approaches its climax. Squeal, shriek. The creatures cry out in terror as the man with long dark hair steps forward, sword gleaming with electric energy. "Once again, thank you for giving me the chance to avenge my fallen comrades." He turns to his white-clothed ally with gratitude. "Hey, it's no problem." The weight of millions lost presses on his shoulders. "It's only right that you put an end to this." Fiery energy radiates from his hand as he prepares the ultimate technique. "This is the least I can do for them. To finish things off with my most powerful attack." Shing. His weapon gleams with deadly promise. "Wretched bugs, disappear." The cry echoes across the watery battlefield as heaven's exile erupts in a massive explosion of light and force. Vengeance has found its voice. Crash, rumble. The massive explosion erupts around the lone tree as debris flies in all directions. The dark-haired figure in flowing robes stands calmly against the chaotic backdrop, electricity crackling from his hand. The man in blue and white suit expresses his awe. He wasn't kidding about his swordsmanship. That's one heck of a skill. Sometimes raw power speaks louder than any words. Lightning crashes through storm clouds as the cloaked figure surveys the destruction. But how come only one of the gates is gone? Confusion fills his masked voice. The pale-skinned man in his long coat stares in surprise alongside the hooded figures. A mysterious object looms in the shadows, defying explanation. Did something keep the gate core safe? What is that thing? Victory feels incomplete when questions remain. Stomp. The shadowy creature's massive arm crashes down with earth-shaking force. The green-skinned monster with bulging eyes stirs with a low dun, its monstrous presence growing stronger. Another beast roars doom, preparing to leap forward as chaos swirls around them. The dark-haired figure stands calmly amid the turmoil, his serene expression contrasting the surrounding mania. When one gate falls, others rise to take its place. The character in the purple and white suit struggles against the powerful energy waves rolling across the scene. Are we scared? His helmeted companion reacts to the swirling electric energy. Oof! Is that also one of the bugs? The menacing presence dominates the chaotic backdrop with intimidating force. Makes me wanna puke. When power reaches this magnitude, fear becomes a survival instinct. Clang! The multi-eyed creature collides in the air, its ominous presence radiating malevolent energy. The armored figure with red eyes questions desperately, not even a scratch. But the spears worked on the grasshopper. The masked character in gray confirms their worst fears. This fly might be something far more dangerous. Something flew at us just now. 7th-rank threats demand 7th-rank solutions. The cloaked figure reflects on the mysterious battle. How did I manage to take down an opponent that was a higher realm than me? Glowing energy builds around him as he gathers his power. There's no time for hesitation. I'll just have to use every ASMA. The energy culminates in a dramatic burst, marking by whoosh and clang. Sometimes victory requires pushing beyond all limits. Crash, WOOSH. The green-skinned creature with bulging eyes unleashes powerful energy bursts as it stomps through the battlefield. So annoying, it growls with irritation. The masked character with dark hair appears overwhelmed, questioning their next move. None of that did any damage at all. Energy crackles through the air as destruction looms. When annoyance meets unstoppable force, devastation follows. The masked character in white and purple expresses doubt. Is it even gonna work? The dark-armored figure with red eyes provides reassurance. It doesn't seem interested in us, at least for now. They discuss returning to their original dimension by destroying the gate core. If we destroy it, the bugs and all will disappear back to their dimension. Hope flickers in the darkness of uncertainty. The white-haired figure notes grimly, all the Raki spears didn't bother that thing. The masked individual proposes using something that bugs might like. Wait, something that bugs like. A sudden realization strikes. What if I use this? Clunk. He produces what appears to be an electric mosquito and bug killer. Sometimes the simplest solutions hide in plain sight. The cavernous space glows with ethereal beauty. Colorful orbs float like jellyfish in an underwater dream. The cloaked figure gazes in wonder. What's this? So beautiful, so pretty, so shiny. His childlike amazement masks the danger. Now Mordred, the silver-armored warrior, commands. Get to the gate while it's distracted. Dart. Sharp projectiles slice through the air as the trap springs shut. The massive green creature with bulging eyes makes a powerful dash, leaving energy trails in its wake. It feels the sudden impact as it unleashes a purple energy wave slash. A smaller purple creature appears with a mischievous grin, squeaking in surprise. SQUE. The green beast attacks again as the smaller creature skates across the chaotic field. SLUCE. The purple whirlwind slams into its target. Digital notifications flash across the interface. Dimensional account ownership transferred. Previous owner unknown. Mana stones total, 74,616. The Beelzebul dimension has lost its Beijing establishment license while Earth reclaims it. In the shadows, a figure with clawed hands grasps a glowing object, laughing sinisterly. KEHEHE. So nice. When dimensions shift ownership, power changes hands, but who truly controls what? The purple vortex vanishes with a thunderous swish. The massive green beast lies defeated, its armored shell cracked and broken. The brown-robed boy stares in disbelief. It's gone. His voice trembles with shock and relief. Then triumph erupts. We did it. Victory tastes sweet after such terror. Two figures celebrate with raised fists. We finally won. Woohoo! But beneath the white hood and gas mask, trembling betrays the cloaked figure's fear. His legs shake uncontrollably. The giant fly almost got me, but we got rid of it in the end. Even in victory, terror lingers. The dark-haired warrior kneels, his expression grave. What's shocking is that even the super-powerful fly is afraid of the ICC. The cloaked figure nods solemnly. These shadowy puppet masters control everything. To restore their lives to normal, they'll have to face them eventually. But how do you fight an enemy that terrifies monsters? In the dimly lit room, surrounded by stacked boxes and ancient tomes, the white-cloaked figure gestures urgently. We need more. The elegant man in black robes realizes the truth. All those martial arts manuals were duplicated for a reason. The gravity of their preparations becomes clear in this shadowy sanctum. Jeongeum stands confidently in the well-lit room, promising to return through the portal he's establishing. The woman in dark robes assures him of continued support, but when he asks about their next destination, the answer brings both hope and dread. Japan awaits, and with it, new monsters with burning red eyes. Sunlight breaks through the darkness as news arrives. The Beijing gate is shut. The concerned warrior asks if his companion is injured, receiving reassurance. But something's wrong. Despite the victory, exhaustion weighs heavy. You're not looking so good. Sometimes triumph comes at a cost the body can't hide. In the modern office, anxiety radiates from the dark-haired man in white as he addresses Lieutenant General Yu. The military man bears the weight of battle, bruised, tired, slumped. But hope enters with Seoyin Park, Busan's representative, her confident smile cutting through the tension like a blade through shadow. The conference room buzzes with formal discussion until the bombshell drops. Above the futuristic cityscape, a notification flashes. Fukuoka has declared war on Busan. The younger man stares in confusion. I don't understand. War has come to their doorstep, and the ICC pulls the strings. Jeongeum listens intently as the military man slides photographs across the table. Strange beings from Beijing, traitors who aren't quite human. His eyes widen in shock at the revelation. Members of the mysterious Resurrection Society walk among them, wearing human faces but harboring inhuman purposes. The dimly lit conference room fills with dread as they discuss the society's overwhelming power. No heroes remain to counter their influence. Then stomp, a monstrous presence interrupts, causing shock to ripple through the gathered men. What the? Evil doesn't wait for meetings to conclude. Terror incarnate, the muscular beast darts toward the screaming boy in yellow dart. GRA, teeth like razors, hunger without mercy. Crunch. Busan streets run red as the Resurrection Society's assassin begins an indiscriminate slaughter. One monster, countless victims. This was their declaration of war. Jeongeum's frustration boils over in the conference room. This is completely absurd. People should be helping each other. But their attempts to gather powered individuals failed. Too few answered the call. The woman in the black blazer nods grimly. They're facing an alliance with beings from another dimension. The weight of Beijing's horrors haunts the room as shadowy memories of monstrous figures loom. Jeongeum sits deep in thought while the military man listens gravely. I can't send someone on a high-risk mission. The only choice left, prepare for the absolute worst. In the tension-filled room, the military man's confident smile cuts through the darkness. I will. His partner adjusts his glasses. Let's do this together. But when they ask about awakened fighters, the encyclopedia of martial art techniques crackles ominously with electricity. What is all this? Power has a price. The military man questions Jeongeum's intentions about providing resources to the army. Jeongeum smiles knowingly. He'll give them to anyone willing to help, not just the army ones. Then a muscular figure enters, shifting the room's energy. It's been a while. I hope you've been well. The blond man's cheerful demeanor radiates confidence. His ability gives him a sturdy body and he's grateful for it. But when Jeongeum hesitates, raising his hand with visible concern, the atmosphere shifts. I actually have a favor to ask, and it's a bit of a difficult request. 6 days. Something important approaches. Under the warm sunset glow, the muscular man's relief is palpable. Don't sweat it. It's an easy task for me. Jiangjiom kneels beside the helicopter, curiosity lighting his eyes. The revelation unfolds. Abilities once underestimated are now recognized for their true potential. Understanding dawns between old allies. Military boots echo against the pavement as the determined soldier walks through dimly lit streets. Sweat beads on his forehead. The pressure of command weighs heavy. He reflects on past misunderstandings, now cleared, strategic plans taking shape. James and others join their growing force. War demands preparation. On the rooftop at sunset, Jiangjiom paces in his military uniform, contemplating his busy friends in Beijing. His steps pause as a crucial thought surfaces. When did he last use the enchant stones? Memory fails him, but something stirs. Come to think of it, when was the last time? Colorful stones gleam in his palm as he admits it's been a while. Then the masked figure with burning red eyes steps forward with decisive clarity. I've already decided where to use them. The crucial moment has arrived, time to upgrade their forces. Power will flow through ancient stones. The notification flashes. Enchant stone and mana stones merge, achieving something magnificent related to Caradoc and the 12 of Camelot. Clomp, clomp, clomp. His determined footsteps echo as he walks. A warm smile crosses his face. It almost feels like the time I reunited with my family. Magic stirs ancient bonds. The 12 KNIGHTS of Camelot called to duty. Menacing masks and gleaming armor fill the panels, warriors from legend awakening to modern crisis. But then the mood shifts dramatically as a cheerful boy in a neat jacket exclaims, "Awesome!" at the departure station. Hope and power converge at last. On the sunlit rooftop surrounded by military vehicles, the blond man stands in contemplation. "Du done," tension builds as he gazes skyward. "Ba bump." His heart races at something incredible. His bashful expression turns to pure amazement as he breathes out a single word of awe, "Daym." The well-lit conference room buzzes with tactical planning as the military officer points at maps, discussing their detailed strategy. Around the table sit the dark-haired man, the contemplative youth, and the imposing knight. Dad began building defenses, so we could fight mermen on the water. Preparation meets destiny. The helmeted figure shows unexpected enthusiasm for mechanical passion while the bearded man nods approvingly. In the spacious hall, robed figures gather, elite Chinese fighters answering the call. We still would have gladly answered your call for assistance. Not all capable fighters can leave China, but the best will stand with them. In the outdoor plaza, Jiangjiom expresses gratitude to his robed companion. "No need to thank us. It pales in comparison to what you've done for us." But the man has a favor to ask. He presents the legendary Cloudflash sword, passed down through generations in heaven's exile. What's this? A weapon of destiny changes hands. On the sunlit rooftop, Jiangjiom's shock is evident. Can he truly duplicate the sacred sword? The woman with long dark hair smiles reassuringly, knowing this power could help many who need it. As the sword passes between them with gratitude, mysterious energy swirls around his feet. Duplication magic awakens. Through the electric blue portal, the tall figure emerges into the vibrant market setting. "Yo, Manu, brought you a gift." Manu adjusts his glasses, startled and panting. 1,000 mana stones. The athletic boy reflects grimly on returning during battle due to his low ranking. Power has requirements. Frustration bleeds through the casual shirt-wearing man's voice. He couldn't help when needed most. The light blue outfitted character explains the ranking system. Most Murim fighters rank at 8, possibly through dimensional being application forms. "It's not because I already got my rank." What a loser! Humor masks deeper inadequacy. In the bustling plaza, Jiangjiom calculates grimly, 100,000 mana stones just to reach level 6. His companion sweats nervously as he offers the remainder in exchange for a favor. What favor? Blank, realization strikes. Then determination. The companion declares success in recruiting Minwoo. Every ally counts now. D-Day arrives with the crash of massive waves against the shore. SHAA. The ocean roars its warning as calm ripples suddenly give way to violence. From the depths, a monstrous shark creature breaches the surface, its exaggerated features and razor teeth promising devastation. The battle for the coast begins. The giant blue fish creature roars its proclamation to the people of Korea, water cascading from its humanoid form. Your weapons are useless against US. The tall figure watches with slight amusement at the theatrical display. But beneath the showmanship lies genuine threat. Death has risen from the depths. The dark-haired boy stands shocked in his casual shirt as chaos erupts outside. Rumbling fills the air. Those umbrellas have opened the wall. The menacing merman commander screams triumph, muscles rippling as he declares their attack on Busan. MERMEN. Attack. Crack. The assault begins in earnest. The silver-armored knight with the glowing purple emblem stands unmoved as humanoid fish scatter in terror. Worthless fish. His circular energy weapon has already spoken. The black-armored figure warns the remaining creatures, you may not take another step forward to our master. Even Captain Hido's forces falter before true power. At the beach, the muscular figure grins with predatory confidence. He'll bring them to their knees. Doom resonates as monstrous waves loom overhead. The armored warrior prepares to demonstrate true power while his anxious companion awaits orders. Move aside. Slash, steel meets flesh with devastating finality. Fierce combat erupts across the chaotic battleground. The dark-haired warrior dodges the blue creature's assault while the muscular man's glowing red fist prepares to strike. Thwack, smash. Bodies fly and debris scatters. Move over, you weaklings. I'll show you the real difference in power. Dominance through destruction. Clang, the fish humanoid's aggressive stance crumbles as reality hits. On the beach, small fish creatures panic, wide-eyed and sweating. One terrified creature urges the other, run. They dash away from unseen horror. Retreat. Even the invaders recognize when they're outmatched. Fear knows no species. The panicked fish creature declares their escape route. No ships nearby, safety underwater. The calm boy in the dark jacket watches with puzzled eyes. They're leaving, just like that. His confidence shows as he questions if this is truly all they have. The enemy retreats faster than anticipated. Water explodes skyward as something massive impacts the ocean. FWOOM, energy pulses through the churning depths while shadows dive beneath the surface. A confident voice declares that whatever the enemy's plan, it's futile against James's masterpiece. Splash. The sea surrenders to superior engineering. The dark-haired warrior makes his request to the sunglasses-wearing pilot, take us to Fukuoka. The confident man grips the wheel. Got it. Let's go, turtle cruiser. Splash. The turtle-shaped vessel cuts through the water under bright sunlight, waves parting before their advance. Adventure calls across the sea. 2 hours into their journey toward Fukuoka, the thoughtful man in his gray jacket reflects on their surprisingly quiet passage. No monsters except retreating mermen. The calm feels unnatural, suspicious. Could this be a trap? His companion smirks behind sunglasses, but unease settles like fog over their voyage. The calm boy dismisses the possibility of a trap, too sloppy, too obvious. Confident in his parallel dimension escape, he shrugs off danger. Then the ominous sound shatters his composure. This sound, it must be a monster. BWO echoes as realization strikes. It was a trap all along. Flash, an enormous eye dominates a swirling blue whirlpool of raw power. The young man in his gray and blue jacket stares in alarm, sweat beading on his forehead. This thing's gotta be at least as strong as the grasshopper. Busan faces destruction if this monster reaches shore. Whoosh! Their ship rushes toward inevitable confrontation. Stab, the dark figure pierces the creature, but victory proves hollow. Kyahhh, the blue glowing beast screams as water explodes around the wound. I should have known. It's not nearly enough. Splash, it resurfaces defiant. The dimensional account notification mocks him. Battleship Whale defeated, 54,827 mana stones gained. But the real fight begins now. The concerned warrior studies his futuristic arm panel, wondering if they're still trapped. Well, I don't know what synthetic monster is waiting, but bring it on. His determination shifts to surprise as the sunglasses-wearing pilot announces their arrival. We're here, Jeong. What? Speed defies expectation. The calm boy reconsiders his assumptions about mermen fighting at sea, expressing relief at their safe arrival. We're in the heart of enemy territory now. Their target looms ahead, the Fukuoka Representative Building. It's literally right there. But proximity brings new dangers. Every step forward invites catastrophe. Jeong's confident smile reveals his strategy. I have the perfect guy for a stealth mission. He calls to Mordred with urgent purpose. The cloaked figure with skeletal mask descends the staircase. Your wish is my command. But fury awaits, you miserable FOOLS. The tentacled monster has spotted the purple infiltrator. In the dimly lit room, the large fishman's rage boils over. You couldn't take BUSAN with the army of 1,000 I sent. The nervous blue creature stammers about Heidke being struck by some large structure and just died. Nearby, the shadowy figure in the formal suit observes calmly, suggesting they underestimated Korean strength. The gray-suited man stands anxiously back-turned, hands clasped in regret. I apologize, sir. But the blue-gray chairman's authority fills the room, sharp teeth gleaming as he grips the table. Who said it's okay to lose Fukuoka? Even defeat in Busan doesn't excuse failure. Japan offers them fortune and opportunity. The tall, gray-skinned man issues his cold command, lock the fish creature in the basement. But the trembling subordinate protests in terror. I thought we only lock up monsters like the horsehead demon in the basement. Grab. Resistance proves futile as control is asserted. The basement holds horrors beyond imagination. In the depths of their hidden stronghold, the mysterious cloaked figure's yellow eyes pierce through shadows as he receives disturbing news. Jeong sits deep in thought, his analytical mind processing an impossible revelation. No traps, no ambush, just nothing. But something doesn't add up about this so-called chairman taking orders from a mere manager. The power structure they've uncovered makes no sense. The fish creature's rage still simmers as questions multiply. Could this mysterious manager be an exiled mage? Someone with power beyond their understanding? The dark-haired strategist dismisses the theories with frustration. Nothing makes sense anymore. But their helper returns with something crucial, keys to the basement. The pieces of this twisted puzzle are finally within reach. The collection of keys jangles ominously in gloved hands. So many locks, so many secrets. With a decisive click, the padlock yields and the heavy door groans open with an ancient creak. The cloaked figure peers into the darkness beyond, and what he sees makes everything clear. Monstrous shapes writhe in the shadows. This explains everything. The basement stretches before them like a nightmare made real. The smaller man nervously mentions the monsters kept here, especially the dreaded horsehead demon that strikes fear into every prisoner's heart. The towering gray-skinned figure shows no emotion, only cold determination. Find the Fukuoka representative. Now. Their footsteps echo through corridors that blur the line between hospital and prison. The basement feels eerily deserted as Jeong scans for any sign of life. How do you find one man in this labyrinth? Suddenly, Mordred's glowing yellow eyes flare with recognition. Something's wrong. Dark energy swirls through the shadows and there, chained in the writhing darkness, a human silhouette. Jeong gasps in horror. What have they done to him? The bound man flinches as they approach, his white shirt torn and bloodied, a blindfold covering part of his battered face. Jeong asks gently if he's okay, but suspicion fills the prisoner's voice. "Who are you? Are you with the Ash?" Fear and confusion war in his words as he struggles to comprehend if these strangers are friend or foe. Daichai Sato's voice carries cautious confidence as he explains his presence. He fought against the RAS, the same enemy that torments this man. Relief flickers across the prisoner's face as realization dawns. These aren't executioners, they're allies. Daichai introduces himself with humble honesty, while the rescued man expresses gratitude mixed with uncertainty. In this hellish place, unexpected hope has arrived. The mere mention of the horsehead demon sends chills through the small man's bones. He stutters the name like a curse, sweat beading on his anxious face. The tall gray figure looms behind him, silent and unreadable. All they know is that it's a seventh-rank monster so powerful that even the hardened inmates whisper its name in terror. The basement's shadows seem to press closer at the very thought. The conversation takes a shocking turn as one man reveals the truth about the horsehead demon. It's not something he can summon, it's something he's sealed within his own body. He lifts his shirt, revealing grotesque markings carved into his flesh. The other man stares in disbelief. This isn't just a prison. It's where the most dangerous monsters are contained, inside human hosts. The cloaked figure's blue glow intensifies as the prisoner explains the terrible cost of his power. Sealing large targets brings crushing recoil, dizziness, fainting, complete exhaustion. He casually eats while describing the horsehead's impenetrable skin, how it resisted every attack they threw at it. The demon was unstoppable, until they found the one person who could contain it. Flames engulf the memory as the horsehead demon's true form emerges, a muscular nightmare wreathed in fire. Boom! The government realized the scale of the threat and mobilized every power-awakened person they could find. But in the end, only one ability could stop the rampage. The demon was sealed away, trapped within human flesh. The city was saved. But at what cost? Blood streams down the young man's face as he coughs violently, the traumatic memory overwhelming him. They were deceived. The government forces were actually RAS operatives in disguise. The grotesque figure giggles with malevolent glee as the truth unfolds. The agents hadn't morphed into mermen yet, making them impossible to identify. It was the perfect trap. They came as friends and left as executioners. The RAS killed those who refused to join their cause. Daichai resisted and was captured, trapped in this nightmare where they fed him just enough to keep him alive but not enough to escape. Left to rot in isolation, unable to even die with dignity. His voice trembles with gratitude as he thanks Jeong for the rescue, but uncertainty clouds his eyes. What happens now? Frustration fills Daichai's voice as he explains the impossible situation. He's the only one who can neutralize the horsehead demon. If he dies, the creature will destroy the entire country with no one left to stop it. But there's a question that haunts him. What's the price of breaking the seal? Is there a law governing his terrible burden? The blue glow around them seems to pulse with dangerous possibility. High above the city, a small fish-like creature peers out curiously, its round eyes wide with confusion. What's that sound echoing through the urban canyons? The answer comes with explosive force, burst, crack. The ground splits apart as something monstrous erupts from below. Kaboom! A towering inferno of destruction rises from the earth, and the horsehead demon has awakened. The explosion paints the sky in violent oranges and reds as debris rains down like deadly hail. Whoosh! Boom! The shockwave ripples through the city, shattering windows and crushing hope. Smoke billows in thick, choking clouds, and through the chaos something watches. A single red eye glows in the heart of the destruction, ancient, hungry, and finally free. The horsehead demon rises from the flames like a nightmare-given form. Its wolf-like head roars with primal fury, muscles rippling with deadly power, fire dancing across its monstrous frame. Boom! Each footstep shakes the earth. The gray fish creatures scream in terror, recognizing the demon that has haunted their worst fears. The seal is broken. The city burns. Hell has come to Seoul. The demon's heat scorches everything in its path as panic spreads through the streets. Creatures clutch their throats, gasping for air as the temperature becomes unbearable. One cries out that his throat is burning, while another can barely breathe in the superheated air. Stomp. The demon advances, each step bringing fresh devastation. Then a notification appears. The Fukuoka representative is dead. The regional war is won. But at what cost? On a rooftop overlooking the chaos, Jeongeum points to the blue notification confirming their victory. The Fukuoka representative is dead, and he reassures his companion not to worry about the sealing records. But admiration fills his voice as he reflects on Jeongeum's selfless nature, always willing to help others without hesitation. Even in this moment of triumph, there's no time to celebrate. The demon still rages below. The moment of truth arrives as Daichai lifts his shirt, revealing his muscular torso marked with the demon's seal. His companion watches with mixture of concern and awe as Daichai declares it's time to fulfill his duty. Across the cityscape, another figure emerges, Horsehead itself, wreathed in fiery aura, his long dark hair whipping in supernatural winds. The sealed warrior faces his inner demon with steely determination. You will go no further. Fire meets fire as the Horsehead demon's red eyes blaze with ancient fury. FSHHH. Energy surges between them as Daichai channels his own power, his muscular frame surrounded by a blazing aura. FWOOM. The clash begins with thunderous force, two supernatural powers colliding in the heart of the burning city. Daichai delivers a decisive blow with a resounding crack. The battle for Seoul's soul has begun. Whoosh, rumble. The device explodes in a cascade of debris as the battle reaches its climax. Through the flames, Jeongeum calls out his praise. That was awesome, Daichai. Both warriors are exhausted, sweat streaming down their faces as they catch their breath. Daichai, still wreathed in dying flames, declares with quiet satisfaction that he's fulfilled his duty. But confusion clouds Jeongeum's expression. Sorry, what just happened? In the distance, Yangsu rushes toward them, demanding answers. The Japanese man struggles with the aftermath of using his devastating ability as his allies help him to a nearby couch. Jeongeum admits with a slight smirk that he's gotten used to bringing new people into their chaotic world. A blue holographic screen displays instructions to consult the ICC's Japanese branch about victory compensation. But beneath the surface, nervous energy builds as they realize this victory came with hidden costs and deeper mysteries. Jeongeum stares at the hexagonal screen patterns, confusion written across his face. Is he supposed to be in charge of some plan? The stylish blonde man with sunglasses voices what they're all thinking. Why are those monsters just staring at them? Massive creatures in suits loom ominously in the background, their presence both threatening and bizarre. Among them, incongruously, sits an ordinary bulldog. The sound effect FWOOM adds to the surreal tension. Recognition dawns in Jeongeum's eyes as he addresses the familiar figures. Yangsu, confident with her long hair and sunglasses, asserts control over the situation, promising to handle the rescued man. Against the Seoul cityscape, a portal opens with a rushing whoosh as a notification appears. 3,000 mana stones invested. The aftermath of the Horsehead demon incident is far from over. New players are entering the game. Crunch chomp. A massive creature tears through the battlefield, its fierce eyes and gaping maw promising destruction. Stomp. The ground trembles as the confident warrior declares he won't disappoint his investor this time. But not everyone shares his enthusiasm. Two other characters watch the chaos unfold, one wearing glasses and looking utterly bewildered. What is it this time? Even in the face of monstrous threats, comedy finds a way to survive. A commanding voice cuts through the chaos. Go out there and prove your worth. The muscular beast with razor-sharp teeth stands ready beside a suited observer, both watching as their investment prepares for battle. Crunch, chomp. The sounds of violence echo through the air as the Japanese warrior, filled with renewed determination, stomps forward. This time will be different. This time, he won't fail his sponsor. The armored warrior descends with lethal intent, his massive frame casting a shadow over the startled young man below. Jeongjeom's eyes widen in sudden realization of the danger. Dash. Movement explodes across the battlefield. Flash. A burst of energy illuminates the scene as the armored figure strikes with devastating force. The impact sends a spray of blood through the air. Plop. The aftermath is swift and brutal. From his observation post, the man in the white lab coat expresses disbelief. Did the warrior really go down that easily? The blue-skinned observer with sharp features contemplates his poor investment choice. Perhaps this 7th rank was the wrong choice after all. Ding! A notification sounds as Jeongjeom receives a massive investment of 14,000 mana stones. Surprise flickers across his face as he senses a new presence approaching. The young man reflects on how Japan used to be a decent place to operate, but Korea offers better opportunities now. A tall figure in a gray suit stands with his back turned, suggesting a strategic shift in operations. The monstrous blue-skinned creature with sharp features makes his intentions clear. He wants to relocate his operations to Korea. His offer comes with a chilling promise. He can declare war on Osaka or Tokyo right now. Power demands its price. The dark-skinned figure with red markings lays out his conditions with stern authority. Victory against Tyrold will be rewarded with a direct gate to their location. But there's a price. Handle this problem immediately. His embarrassment at the office's response is palpable as he admits he cannot focus on his work. The young man listens with growing shock, sweat beading on his forehead, as he realizes the true scope of the power dynamics at play. The armored warrior prepares his strike, uttering a threatening "this" as he looms over his target, but Jeongjeom's eyes blaze with fury as he shouts back, "You scumbag!" The green-haired figure watches from the sidelines with growing concern, noting that this wasn't part of their original agreement. Ominous skies gather overhead as the confrontation escalates beyond anyone's expectations. Violence was always inevitable. The gray-skinned warrior grits his teeth as he brandishes his knife, standing amid the wreckage of the city. From his position, the man in the white lab coat suddenly recognizes the impossible: repulsion. His mind races as he processes what he's witnessing. Could this opponent be higher than 6th rank? Meanwhile, Jeongjeom calmly holds a glowing object, addressing the pale, green-haired observer who watches with growing skepticism. Clink. The sound underscores the tension. The white-haired man in his long coat dismisses the fallen warrior with cold satisfaction. Well, that takes care of that. But the masked figure warns him about blood loss, while the muscular newcomer questions the ranking system. Sarcasm fills the air as the masked man mocks their lack of structure. The conversation turns to strategy as the muscular warrior contemplates invasion versus defense. The hierarchy of power is shifting, and everyone knows it. Sweat beads on the dark-haired boy's forehead as he nervously asks for time to think. His opponent stands confidently with hands behind his back, a blue portal glowing ominously behind him. The boy realizes that people with abilities like his exist in other dimensions, but he's not the one holding the cards here. A flash of insight strikes him as he connects his power to Daichai's sealing ability. His eyes widen with sudden understanding. His opponent doesn't know what his ability really does. The armored warrior questions the consequences of refusal while the blue-skinned antagonist in his lab coat suggests reconsideration with sinister calm. You really have no other choice, he insists, but the warrior has already decided. Nah, I've already made up my mind. I'm gonna GO now. CYA. As he turns to leave, the antagonist's voice carries dark implications about neutrality and its rules. Some choices cannot be undone. The gray-skinned figure with jagged teeth explains his calculated risk. Exposing himself to offer sponsorship was essentially a threat disguised as generosity. His determination to keep silent about his target was clear. But now, as the man in the black suit approaches the glowing portal, doubt creeps in. Was his threat really effective against someone so seemingly untouchable? The chaos of wrecked buildings around them speaks to the stakes of this gamble. The dark-haired young man in his blue jacket weighs his options carefully. For now, the best course of action is to slip out, or just pretend to cooperate. He's been offered work, but becoming an insider holds no appeal. The white-haired figure with blazing red eyes suddenly gives a command: Pax, store that office of his. FSHHH. Blue energy rushes through the scene as another piece moves on this interdimensional chessboard. Realization dawns as the boy connects the dots about ranking upgrades and his hidden abilities. Sweat drips down his face as he contemplates the competitive nature of their system. The blue-skinned figure acknowledges his gratitude toward the ICC, understanding the game has changed. Thump. The boy's heart pounds as he grapples with the irresistible opportunity before him. How can he possibly resist this chance to grow stronger? The blue-skinned antagonist's composure shatters as he witnesses something impossible. OHF. Burst. Energy explodes across the scene as the protagonist stands in the aftermath, blood spattering around him. His face shows pure disbelief. His head just exploded on its own. Electric energy crackles in the air as THUND echoes through the chaos. In the background, another figure retreats through the destruction. The rules of this game just changed completely. The gray-skinned warrior pants heavily, his jagged teeth gleaming as understanding dawns. Hee. So that's how it is. The manager was nothing, just a small fry compared to the grand authority of interdimensional powers. Thud. His fist strikes the ground, sending debris flying. A notification appears showing the transfer of dimensional account ownership. 71,919 mana stones now under new management. The power structure has shifted, and the strong have claimed their prize. In the futuristic city of towering skyscrapers, the young man looks back with confusion and concern etched on his features. What was all that about? Did he make a mistake storing the office? The thought of his head bursting like the others sends chills down his spine. But the situation has been handled for now. He needs time to figure things out. His next destination is clear. Brian and Alex await. A blue interface materializes with news of a compatible system update. The dark-haired boy stares at the notification, anxiety creasing his brow as he contemplates the decision. Hesitation fills his silence as a small bead of sweat highlights his nervousness. Suddenly, he feels a twitch. Something is changing. The update bar appears, showing 1% progress. There's no going back now. The young man appears dazed, sweat glistening on his forehead as he struggles to comprehend his surroundings. Nearby, a figure in gleaming white armor speaks with quiet authority. He's just resealed the horsehead demon. Blue sparks of energy dance through the air as the armored warrior asks if he's feeling better. Admiration fills the young man's voice as he reflects on the stranger's bravery. He's so awesome, fighting for people who aren't even his own. Jeong, dressed in his gray uniform, expresses his readiness to leave now that he's recovered. But the mysterious long-haired figure questions his haste. There's still much work to be done, he reminds him. Though they've toppled the RAS, the battle is far from over. The tension in the air is palpable as both men understand the weight of the ongoing conflict stretching before them. The dark-haired boy clenches his fist with fierce determination, declaring his intent to emulate the valor he's witnessed. The white-clothed figure reflects on their shared past. He once represented this role before leaving. Despite his vulnerability, the boy gulps nervously but maintains his resolve to keep fighting. Against the backdrop of towering skyscrapers, their bond of mentorship and determination strengthens even as doubt lingers in the air. As the dark-haired boy prepares to step through the shimmering portal, he thanks his host for the hospitality and meal they shared. The other character, stylishly dressed with his hair in a ponytail, offers future assistance with genuine warmth. But the boy's parting words carry an ominous undertone. If needed, he'll return to unleash the horned demon. The portal awaits, and with it, an uncertain future filled with dangerous possibilities. Confidence returns to the young man's features as he reviews the display screen showing successful completion. His outfit has changed to a fitted dark gray uniform with a PPF logo, suggesting new affiliations and responsibilities. Ding! The system update notification confirms the process is finished. HMM. He contemplates thoughtfully. It's time to explore whatever new capabilities await him in this enhanced reality. Jeongeum walks cautiously through the sterile corridor, noting how ordinary everything seems. No flies, no obvious threats, just unsettling normalcy. Suddenly, a floating blue cube materializes before him, its cheerful demeanor contrasting sharply with the eerie environment. "Welcome, Mr. Jeongeum. I have been waiting for you." His eyes widen in shock. Huh. This unexpected greeting promises answers or deeper mysteries. The cheerful interface explains its new appearance. A system update has made it more compatible and functional. The dazed character listens as the cube lists its enhanced features, including a message transmission system. In this futuristic room filled with glowing screens, technology and mystery intertwine. The cube's friendly demeanor masks the true complexity of the systems at work. But what messages is it designed to transmit? And to whom? The warehouse system's capabilities unfold before Jeongeum's fascinated eyes. Limited regions for message transmission spark his curiosity, followed by the satellite observation system's revelation. But when dimensional being application forms enter the equation, his excitement builds. This isn't just storage anymore. It's infrastructure for interdimensional operations. Hardware limitations sting, only 7th rank applications possible, but inspiration strikes like lightning. Jeongeum's vision transforms beyond mere warehousing. A full-scale integrated logistics operations center materializes in his mind. The future blazes before him, radiant with possibility. Meanwhile, on sun-drenched beaches, frustration bubbles over. The warrior expected battle, prepared for war. Instead, victory came too easily. No punches thrown, no glory earned. He stares at rolling waves, hollow triumph eating at his warrior's soul. What good is strength when there's nothing left to fight? The beach warrior's regret deepens, should have followed number 3 to Japan instead. A caped figure nearby shares the boredom, waiting for action. But astonishment breaks through when Saul's incredible achievement surfaces. Level 999. The system finally recognizes greatness that transcended all limits. Above, Jeongeum's gaze lifts to witness Saul's towering presence. Level 999, Saul the Almighty. The building itself proclaims her dominance, but Saul's crimson eyes burn with recognition. Her little brother's interference sparked this chaos. From distant waves, his voice echoes triumphant. "I'm back." Universal truth. All younger siblings possess one terrifying superpower, the ability to sense their older siblings' murderous intent. Flames rage around monstrous creatures as bloodthirst fills the air, but Jeongeum grins, paper in hand. He came prepared for Saul's wrath. The 7th rank application form, his shield against sisterly rage, but confusion strikes when requirements surface. 50,000 members minimum for group applications. The seaside setting can't diminish this overwhelming revelation. How does one recruit an army? 50,000 people. The impossibility weighs heavy between them as waves crash nearby. The woman voices what they both know, this task seems insurmountable. But the man's expression shifts, determination replacing doubt. He has an idea. The destroyed skyscraper looms, foreshadowing challenges ahead. Stomp. The massive creature's clawed foot thunders down, leaving darkness in its wake. Red eyes gleam with predatory hunger as a low growl rumbles from its throat. Sinister footprints mark its path of destruction. A human figure freezes in terror as doom approaches. The monstrous cat grins with deadly fangs bared. Horror crashes over the boy's face as he realizes his predicament. Blood streams down his cheek. Chaos surrounds him in dark splashes. A sword embedded beside a fallen figure offers grim hope, but will he reach it in time? Ding! System notification pierces the tension. A shipment of Cloudflash Sword +1 arrives from PAX FC, complete with promotional messaging. The distressed boy clutches his weapon as PAX's intelligence evolves. Absorbing the ICC's Japan branch upgraded more than functions. The AI became truly smart. Standing on the beach, the glowing Cloudflash Sword beside him, Jeongeum contemplates strategy. The system can distinguish friend from foe, send aid where needed. But what if he markets PAX FC through message transmission? Hell yeah! Innovation meets opportunity. Portal capabilities expand with shipping distance, now 1,500 feet of operational range around each gateway. Time to establish more portals across the region. The gift box hovers as confirmation arrives. Next stop, Busan. The transportation network begins to take shape. Busan's skyline gleams under sunset as problems emerge around the portals. Crowds gather, confused and pushy. What's PAX FC? A soccer team. The headset-wearing operative reports complications while frustrated voices rise. The portal installations created unexpected chaos in the bustling city. Military involvement. The proposal shocks the uniformed officer. Portal management requires regulation due to security vulnerabilities. But the scope is staggering. The manpower needed would stretch resources thin. Strategic locations need oversight, but at what cost to military operations? Seoyan Park accepts the portal management proposal with cautious optimism. The Abyss organization will handle security around the gateways. Supplies guaranteed, teamwork established. A soldier directs the crowd, maintaining order as people line up for distributed goods. Collaboration brings control to chaos. Supply distribution becomes recruitment opportunity. Join PAX FC for additional benefits. The marketing strategy works as membership grows. Ding! Jeongeum grins. Just 100 members from 7th rank achievement. But unexpected problems surface. Interdimensional beings with peaceful intentions seeking help. A non-hostile being from another dimension. Jeongeum's surprise deepens when a fluffy creature appears, tears streaming down its face. Please help me, it pleads with desperate urgency. The small being promises to stay hidden, seeking only sanctuary. Trust battles caution in this emotional encounter. The creature's story unfolds over shared conversation. Its home dimension fell to interdimensional attacks, the same fate threatening Earth. Seeking new homes, survivors scattered across realities. The small being sobs softly while munching cookies, grateful for simple kindness amid universal devastation. Earth wasn't the only target. Other dimensions suffered similar raids, creating refugees across realities. The fluffy creature reveals its companions, initially settling in mountains that proved far from safe. Jeongeum contemplates the broader pattern while the displaced being shares its tragic tale. The Manong's exceptional sense of smell detects danger, goblins lurking on the 3rd floor of the adjacent building. Multiple hostiles confirmed. But as Jeongeum agrees to let the creature investigate, a cloaked figure materializes. Mordred's commanding presence changes everything with a simple directive. I'll let you decide whether to kill them. Mordred's glowing eyes deliver the ultimatum as Jeongeum acknowledges with quiet understanding. The knight's lightning speed impressed as expected, but this little guy, the innocent creature munches away, oblivious to deadly discussions surrounding it. The creature's Mafak abilities create dangerous exposure risks. Jeongeum's protective instincts flare. He can't let such vulnerability go undefended. The small being trembles with fear, knowing the stakes. But when asked for consent, trust overcomes terror. Sometimes protection requires courage from both sides. Collaboration blooms from mutual need. Jeongeum proposes partnership, help finding the creature's scattered friends in exchange for assistance. Solon of the Manong tribe reflects on unprecedented kindness, a filling meal unlike any in his lifetime. Ding! Pax FC invitation arrives as hope builds. Jackpot! The Manong tribe's hidden numbers explode across the interface, 10,615 members under Solin's leadership. Jeongjeom's excitement peaks as membership soars past 50,000. Seventh rank achievement unlocked instantly. He never imagined this moment would arrive through such unexpected alliance. Applause greets Jeongjeom's confident stage entrance, arms outstretched in victory. But celebration shifts to mission focus. Scattered Manong tribe members need rescue across dangerous terrain. The expedition to Sialak Mountain begins despite navigation challenges. Everything will be okay, he promises with cheerful determination. Helicopter support arrives with thunderous rotor wash. THWAP echoes across mountain peaks as aerial reconnaissance begins. But wind interference prevents Solin's scent tracking. Hiking becomes the only option. The long trek ahead demands conversation partners and unwavering resolve. Lancelot joins the forest expedition, his armored presence both impressive and intimidating. Night peer pressure. The casual hiker feels the weight of expectation. As they traverse lush woodland paths, deeper stories emerge. Lancelot's past as an ordinary person hints at transformation's profound cost. It is not the happiest of stories. The Avalon dimension unfolds through Lancelot's memories, vast plains, thick forests, vibrant underwater realms. This wondrous place with diverse ecosystems became home to countless beings, but beneath beauty lurked the seeds of tragedy. Even infants barely able to speak received hunting tools in Avalon's harsh reality. Constant monster threats forged inhabitants into fierce warriors. Civilization grew alongside combat skills, but the strength meant to protect them would become their downfall through internal conflict. Monster fighting skills turned against their own people. Territorial wars erupted in bloody centuries of civil conflict. Desperation consumed Avalon as endless battles wore down survivors, until a young knight emerged, a beacon of hope who would unite the fractured realm under Camelot's banner. Arthur's gentle smile promised an end to pain. Swords would no longer cause suffering among their people. The Order of Camelot formed as guardians of Avalon's newfound peace. Prosperity flourished under his wisdom, but ominous red energy swirls above. Peace never lasts when darkness approaches. Invaders arrived like any other day, but these were dark mages from the Baranal dimension, unimaginably powerful beings wielding forces beyond comprehension. Avalon's finest warriors fell before them, and we became the undead, unable to die. Immortal suffering replaced mortal hope. The forest mist cannot hide Lancelot's pain as he confirms the terrible truth. An entire dimension destroyed. The young man sweats with shock, processing the magnitude of such loss. How does one comprehend the annihilation of countless lives, an entire reality wiped from existence? Lancelot's regret weighs heavy in the tranquil forest. The companion flinches, then catches himself. His family still lives, Earth endures. Hope remains possible where Avalon found only darkness, but his clumsy attempt at comfort falls flat against such profound loss. Why did I just say that? The knight's helmet cannot hide his mortification, suggesting resurrection at a funeral. What kind of comfort is that? The awkward tension builds as both realize how thoughtless the words sounded. Some wounds cannot be healed with optimism. Lancelot's gratitude cuts through the awkwardness. The young man's allegiance means everything, proof he's not seen as an invader but as a trusted lord. Other knights share this sentiment. Trust transcends dimensional boundaries, and even a curious bear witnesses this bond of understanding. That familiar scent. Recognition sparks excitement as rustling grass reveals its source. A fluffy creature darts forward with enthusiastic wagging, launching itself into a joyful embrace. The armored observers watch with mild amusement as reunion unfolds in the misty forest. The chubby creatures express concern for their chief's well-being. Lancelot reassures them. These people saved his life and want to help establish a new settlement. Enthusiasm builds as knowledge of other hidden Manongs emerges. Really, hope multiplies with each potential rescue. Exhaustion creeps in after endless mountain hiking. Why do they love peaks so much? But relief arrives as the portal creator expresses gladness at everyone's safety. The glowing blue gateway will provide sanctuary from monsters, finally offering security in this mystical forest clearing. Gratitude flows from the rescued Manongs as they thank their savior, but Jeongeum proposes utilizing their special abilities for monster tracking operations. The system deploys the tribe's keen senses tactically. A small creature perches on his shoulder, sniffing the air for threats ahead. The basement's on the left. Dynamic combat erupts as monsters meet their match through coordinated strikes. Only 1 week since help arrived, and monster attack reports plummet dramatically. The contemplative operative chews thoughtfully. Progress brings hope, but vigilance remains essential. Unease gnaws at their success. 7th rank achieved, Manongs found, monster attacks down, perfect conditions for something big to happen. Jeongeum's gut feeling proves right as new ICC documents arrive. The digital screens hint at developments that could change everything. His gut never lies. The document reveals shocking news, not a bridging operation but a full-dimensional merger. Pacific region and alternate dimension combining forces. The canister trembles in his excited grip as implications dawn. This changes the entire game. 20 pages of dense documentation overwhelm the weary reader. Give me a break, but importance demands attention as the digital assistant prepares to summarize. The cheerful screen contrasts serious military uniforms as key personnel gather. Critical objectives await revelation. This situation differs from previous encounters. Forced confrontation approaches. The detailed plan targets Korea and Japan while reducing ranked individuals. 7 days until implementation. The blue-lit meeting room buzzes with strategic tension as they realize the scope of incoming conflict. What if Elvenheim's inhabitants are also invasion victims, forced to fight against their will? Diplomatic solutions could prevent bloodshed, but communication seems impossible with no contact methods available. The armored figure warns, Elvenheim has already been placed in frenzy mode. No time to waste. Determination clenches his fist as urgency demands immediate action, but concerns about the Elvenheim people's feelings create hesitation. What if they face primitive creatures like those in China? The dramatic coastal vista reflects inner turmoil, worry about the unknown ahead. Sunlight bathes rough ocean waves as refugee elves contemplate their new home. The water's dirty but better than what they left behind. Could you be more obvious? Frustration bubbles as the blonde boy acknowledges harsh reality. No place dirtier than home exists anywhere. On murky shores, the elves debate possibilities beyond their toxic homeland. Maybe better places exist in space, but if so, previous inhabitants probably died off. The boy's impulsive reach toward dirty water triggers alarm. What reckless action will desperation drive him toward? The Chancellor's orders echo in her mind, no littering on Earth. The tattooed woman's fury boils over as she confronts his recklessness. But he defends his actions, purifying contaminated water, not polluting it. Through the spyglass, distant figures appear on the beach, elves, but these aren't the pristine guardians they expected. Jeongeum processes what he's witnessed, purification, a special talent of the elves born from their connection to nature itself. His respect grows as understanding dawns. These beings see the world as interconnected, every action rippling through the web of existence. Perhaps they don't need to be enemies after all. The muscular elf's eyes narrow as he spots something approaching across the waves. His companions tense behind him, the small girl shocked, the boy with glasses anxious. What's heading their way? Are their enemies already scouting for the coming battle? A bright flash erupts from the water, but the 7 days aren't up yet. The ocean erupts in a massive splash, drawing every eye to the shore. Blue light flashes as an impossible delivery materializes, fresh fruits and vegetables courtesy of Pura Fresh. The woman extends her hand in greeting while the brown-haired boy stares in bewildered amazement. Even in this apocalyptic world, some surprises are pleasant ones. Ethan steps forward, representing the noble guardians of Mother Nature herself. Jeong Kim introduces himself as PAX FC's representative from Korea, confidence radiating from his posture. But the word Korea hits like lightning. The shocked elves freeze, their faces telling a story of recognition and fear. What does Korea mean to them? The truth spills out. They're not here to wage war against Elvenheim. Their true enemy is the ICC, the force that threatens them both. Relief floods the elf's features as he realizes someone finally shares their perspective. As he casually munches on greenery, the tension begins to shift. Perhaps cooperation isn't impossible after all. No time to waste. The muscular elf's urgency drives them forward as their vehicle roars to life. The children's excitement peaks as they speed across the beach, cool. This is super fast. Water and dirt spray behind them as they race toward the city. But their destination brings a sobering reality, a path lined with gravestones. Better to walk and avoid misunderstandings. The boot hits the ground with authority as they proceed on foot through the park-like pathways. Light-hearted moments emerge, children playing, elves bickering about watering plants and fertilizer. Even in dire times, life finds ways to continue, though tensions simmer beneath the surface. Jeong sweats as he surveys the ancient structures around them. Everything seems so old, so ordinary. Where are the demonically strong beings he expected? This feels like a countryside town, not a capital of power. His anxiety spikes. Don't tell him they still have 2 days of travel ahead. But then comes the revelation that shatters his assumptions. In the dilapidated room, the scraggly-bearded elf insists that Fandalk is dead, his animated gestures evoking laughter despite the rundown surroundings. Broken windows frame their conversation as reality sets in. They need to reach the capital. The Gallatin Council Hall awaits, but the mood oscillates between comedy and the weight of their mission ahead. The boys' shock is palpable. That rundown senior center is the council hall. This poor, worn-down village is the capital. The elders' confusion meets the guardians' frustration as the blonde girl defiantly holds her litter. The absurdity hits like a thunderbolt. How mighty can the elves truly be if this is their seat of power? The blonde with braids lectures the balding chancellor about treating guests properly. He's setting a bad example for the children. But her mention of guests sparks surprise and concern. Where are these guests? As the cloaked figures approach through the stained glass light, hesitant greetings are exchanged. Relief and gratitude color their first encounter. In the stone interior, promises are made. They don't intend to cause trouble. The blonde elf guarantees their peaceful stance while the blue-haired man smirks with mischievous intent. But his laughter creates a stark contrast with the serious undertones. The armored figure looms nearby as wind whispers through the chamber, carrying the weight of unspoken threats. The scraggly-bearded elf's fury explodes. How dare they make such threats? It's an insult to everything he stands for. The armored figure wrestles with his emotions as a voice calls out, urging Lancelot to keep control. But the elf lunges forward with deadly intent, energy crackling through the air. Violence seems inevitable. The boy processes the shocking revelation. Humans live around 100 years, but for elves, that's barely adulthood. They've battled constantly for survival, most reaching only 6th rank like the littering elder. The harsh truth settles in. These aren't the mighty beings he imagined, but a struggling people worn down by endless conflict. The green-haired figure with pointed ears radiates intimidation as they confront the shadowed warrior. They're not naive enough to fall for devious plans. Why don't they give them a chance? The armored character stands defiant, pointing out the contradiction. They came to discuss peace, yet face threats of violence. Dark intentions clash with desperate diplomacy. The confrontation erupts in the deserted area as the green-haired figure declares they'll spare a life. But the blonde stands over their defeated opponent while another cries out in outrage, "You've gone too far." Disbelief spreads as violence escalates beyond reason. The dark-haired character pleads desperately, but mercy seems a distant hope. The scraggly elf mocks his opponent's submission to threats, reveling in the irony of his master's eagerness to bow down. The armored figure struggles with emotions, crying, "My lord," in frustration. But the setting shifts to an ethereal landscape where the blonde elf acknowledges the unusual character and attempts to refocus their discussion toward more strategic matters. The dialogue turns heated as the elf questions the boy's pride. Shouldn't they be lucky to have help? Would they rather die than accept aid from an outsider? The boy's concern and curiosity meet the elf's frustration head-on. A boom of emotional intensity underscores their clash before the elf finally sighs, offering a reluctant, "Come with me." Jeongjeom's mind races with panic. Is she going to abduct and torture him? Will he be locked in some torture chamber? His imagination spirals out of control as the mysterious cloaked figure approaches. But he forces himself to stop overthinking, trying to maintain some semblance of calm. Sometimes paranoia is worse than reality. Right. The green-haired figure commands with deadly authority, "Ready." Fire. Energy swirls as the powerful blast erupts from their position, striking the rocky structures with devastating force. The boy feels the sting of the attack, crying out as pain shoots through him. The demonstration is clear. This is no ordinary opponent. The boy's realization hits like lightning. Did she just say cubs? And she's not good enough for an organized group. His expression shifts to cartoonish understanding as the truth dawns. He's walking straight into a den of overpowered tigers. Staying on his toes is absolutely futile when facing such overwhelming power. Time to embrace the chaos. The boy stares in confusion at the illuminated object before him. The elf gestures proudly toward their most sacred treasure, the tree of cosmos. Its mystical lights dance through the air as the elf explains its significance. This tree has held on through the years, ensuring their survival in the cursed land of Elvenheim. But cursed? How? Once upon a time, the tree was unmatched in grandeur, glowing with blinding brilliance across the land. But tragedy struck when they lost a battle against another dimension. The tree of cosmos began to shrink, its light fading. A curse fell upon the elves and Elvenheim itself, trapping them in a slow decline toward extinction. The green-haired elf questions why Jeongjeom wants to know about their curse, suspicion creeping into their voice. But he offers to lend a hand, earnest concern replacing his earlier anxiety. The elf challenges him. Would he even understand if told? The conversation reveals their world's recent introduction to other dimensions, and the dark mages of Barnaul who brought this chaos upon them. Barhamel's shock is written across his sweat-covered face as energy erupts from his hands in a brilliant sphere. The elf explains with intrigue and seriousness. This is nature energy, the power that not all elves can harness. Only the high elves, those from the noble dimension, possess such abilities, a rare gift in a dying world. The elf reflects on their past encounter with dark mages who devastated most of the high elves. The boy nervously admits he might have seen one earlier, his anxiety building as he recalls the scary encounter. Both characters share a moment of realization and growing camaraderie, agreeing to notify each other of any horned elf sightings in the future. The mysterious figure declares they've shared enough information and urges Jeongjeom to leave. Ethan will guide him back out of the city once they reach the square. The boy agrees nervously as anticipation builds around the glowing tree of cosmos. Their mystical encounter draws to a close, but questions about the curse still linger in the air. Jeongeum contemplates the tree of cosmos, wondering if he could make multiple copies using his warehouse abilities. But the digital interface crushes his hopes. No suitable categories flashes across the screen. His frustration mounts as he realizes the tree of cosmos is truly in a class of its own, beyond even his parallel dimension's power. At the bustling square, the elegant elf prepares to fetch Ethan, expressing pleasure in their brief conversation. But Jeongeum stops her with an exciting presentation. A glowing mass of magical energy erupts from his hands. Her puzzled expression shifts to gasps of confusion as she asks what this spectacular gift could be. He waves goodbye, insisting it's just a present with no strings attached. Defy stands relieved before the mystical portal, explaining they need to clear Sapphire now that most merfolk are gone. But there's a problem. The enemies took the gate core and fled to the sea. The pale blue-haired character expresses confusion about the unexpected entity that emerged, adding another layer of mystery to their already complex situation. The strategy becomes clear. A giant kaiju shoots magic ink with a limited range of half a mile. Conventional ranged attacks won't work because the distance is simply too great. They need something with supreme range and devastating power. But how can they possibly reach such a distant and dangerous target with the tools at their disposal? The silver-haired elf confronts Jeongeum about his suspicious generosity. She wasn't surprised when he dropped that pile of food for them. Has he no shame? He casually offers double in exchange for a favor, eliciting her shocked response. Suddenly, a massive octopus tentacle erupts from the scene with a thunderous roar, adding dramatic urgency to their negotiation. The ocean erupts as something massive breaks the surface with a deafening groan. The elegant elf stands poised by the water's edge, composed despite the chaos surrounding her. The man in the dark suit extends his hand toward her with confidence, declaring, "The stage is yours, my lady." The moment of truth has arrived, time for her power to shine. The boy watches in astonishment as mystical energy erupts in brilliant flashes around the portal. Defy channels powerful forces through his hands, green light swirling as he focuses intensely on the mystical gateway. The sound of energy crackling fills the air. Something significant is about to happen. The portal pulses with otherworldly power, ready to unleash its secrets. The red tentacled creature with glowing yellow eyes surges through the water, unleashing a massive energy blast that sends waves crashing in all directions. The ocean becomes a battlefield as the dark vortex swirls ominously, creating whirlpool-like momentum. On the distant ship, a lone figure stands resolute, observing the chaos as debris splashes into the turbulent sea. The silver-haired elf stands triumphant atop the snowy mound, her staff gleaming in the light. Chancellor Ely's arrow, fired with pure energy, not only destroyed the Kraken, but also recovered the gate core it was keeping. The victory means mana stones from both the Kraken and the gate core, resources that could change everything in their struggle for survival. The black-haired boy explains his strategy with a confident smirk. If the new mana stones push his total beyond 100,000, he can level up his parallel dimension and mass copy the Tree of Cosmos to rescue Elvenheim. But the elderly elf's protective stance suggests obstacles ahead. The elves' closed society might prevent any plans from moving forward, no matter how well-intentioned. Jeongeum contemplates the risks. If the elves think he's trying to steal their sacred tree, they might end him on the spot. The second scenario involves collecting mana stones the old-fashioned way if his total doesn't reach 100,000. The girl listens intently as he outlines his backup plan, both of them understanding the dangerous game they're about to play. The girl pauses thoughtfully as tension builds around the glowing tablet. The boy sweats intensely, watching the mana stone calculation with desperate hope. Please let it be at least 32,000. His frustration mounts as he reflects on receiving nothing until the turtle cruiser reached the island. Everything hinges on this moment. The stakes couldn't be higher. The silver-haired elf stands confidently on the beach, arms crossed as she reflects on her successful kill. She playfully suggests offering more food could mend relations, but when the male character questions whether mana stones were included in their deal, her glare shows serious displeasure. She refuses to work for free. Business is business, even in the apocalypse. The young woman confronts Jeongjeom with growing suspicion. Something doesn't add up about his intentions with the mana stones. He offers 4 times the agreed food amount, but she demands the stones and fulfillment of their original deal. His internal discomfort battles with his desperation as she pressures him further, forcing his hand in this high-stakes negotiation. Surrounded by scattered mana stones on the beach, Jeongjeom decides to be honest. Whatever he stores in his parallel dimension can be infinitely copied. He wanted to store the Tree of Cosmos and create thousands of copies to help them survive. His serious expression betrays his hope, but he senses her doubt. Does she truly believe such an impossible claim? The girl contemplates before a towering pile of colorful orbs, while the white-haired boy with elfin features waits patiently. He has all day to see whether Jeongjeom is lying, or if the copies really keep coming with no end. The coastal setting provides a stark contrast to their tense standoff, as anticipation builds around this impossible demonstration. The blonde elf in camouflage struggles to comprehend the mass production before her eyes. While she can't believe in infinite copies, the evidence of his capabilities is undeniable. She questions how she could trust him to return the tree after storing it, but his defensive response reveals the growing complexity of their negotiation. Trust doesn't come easily in desperate times. The woman in green pleads with growing emotion. Every single elf is barely surviving day by day. She hasn't seen a healthy face since arriving on this cursed island. The man responds defensively, suggesting they'd act the same in his position. But her passionate concern cuts through his excuses. The darkness around her highlights the emotional weight of their suffering. The blonde woman in flowing green robes speaks gently to young Ely about the importance of coexistence. Competition shouldn't overshadow collaboration. True survival depends on fostering relationships with others. While personal strength seems appealing, they're not complete beings on their own. The mystical green mana illuminates their conversation as wisdom passes between generations. The bearded elder smiles knowingly as he shares his wisdom. They must learn to work with one another because they're not complete beings alone. The white-haired boy listens intently, absorbing the lesson about teamwork and interdependence. As the moment turns personal, he realizes he hasn't even asked for her name. Jeongjeom Kim, she replies thoughtfully, opening the door to deeper connection. The exchange concludes with mutual understanding. The blonde elf looks serious as Jeongjeom expresses his confidence with a growing grin. The futuristic interface announces his significant mana stone acquisition and parallel dimension level-up, advancement that could change everything. As the floating box appears with new options, she asks with anticipation, "Ready, Pax?" Jeongjeom's confidence radiates as he responds to her readiness, "Always, Jeondiam." His ominous continuation sends chills through the air. "Until I say stop, ship Trees of Cosmos." The elderly elf breathes out the phrase in dazed recognition, while another elder expresses regret that Fandrock isn't here to witness this moment. Colorful balloons hint at journeys ahead as their world changes forever. The delivery of the Trees of Cosmos creates immediate chaos. Ely gestures frantically at the sky, shouting his frustration while another boy struggles with a crate overflowing with glowing saplings. The magical plants pulse with ethereal light as he desperately tries to redirect the shipment to Lancelot. But when Ely reaches out to touch one of the mystical saplings, Something goes wrong. The sound of dripping follows his horrified reaction. An elder elf breaks down completely, his weathered face streaming with tears as he clutches a glowing green orb. Despite his advanced age, raw emotion overwhelms him as he struggles to express his gratitude to the armored figures beside him. The weight of everything he's endured becomes too much to bear. His vulnerability is heartbreaking, a proud warrior reduced to tears, finally allowing himself to feel the relief of hope after so much suffering. The skull-helmeted figure suddenly convulses, his body racked by an unbearable sensation. Green energy crackles around him as he cries out about the maddening itch consuming his flesh. Meanwhile, Pax observes the situation with growing concern, noting their abundance of Tree of Cosmos resources. But something is terribly wrong. The mystical energy is affecting people in ways they never anticipated. Pax's holographic message cuts through the crisis. He orders an immediate halt to the Tree of Cosmos shipments and calls for recruitment in Elvenheim. The urgency is palpable. Then Jeongeum arrives like a savior, his confident presence immediately lifting spirits as he announces their readiness to help. Pax eagerly volunteers for manual labor, his enthusiasm a stark contrast to the mounting chaos around them. Jeongeum enthusiastically explains their tree-planting mission across Elvenheim, his upbeat demeanor infectious as he gestures toward the magical saplings. But Ely suddenly calls out in alarm, pointing urgently at the group's strange behavior. A girl's terrified scream pierces the air, followed by an ominous sound that makes Jeongeum spin around with sudden dread. Something is going catastrophically wrong. The elder elf writhes in agony, his entire body consumed by unbearable sensations. Jeongeum rushes to help, promising to get him back inside Camelot immediately. The old warrior can barely speak through his suffering, reduced to desperate muttering. As Jeongeum observes the horses nearby, a terrible realization dawns. The Tree of Cosmos power isn't healing them. It's transforming them into something else entirely. The white-haired elder explains the terrifying truth about nature energy manipulation. While normally beneficial, it can be twisted into something almost like a curse. As he demonstrates altering the energy's properties, green power swirls around them ominously. The younger man watches in shock, questioning the elder's identity. What they thought was salvation might be their doom. Pax listens with growing horror as the elder reveals the ranking system among elves and the true scope of the threat they're facing. The comparison to the giant fly monster from China sends chills through everyone present, but the elder's weathered appearance makes it impossible to gauge his true power level. In this new world, nothing is as it seems, and their enemies might be far stronger than they ever imagined. Jeongeum hesitates, his expression troubled as he processes everything he's learned. When a dark-haired elf raises his hands in alarm, urging him to wait, the tension escalates further. Jeongeum asks for more details, but the conversation takes an even darker turn as someone begins explaining the incredible and terrifying power of dark magic. It defies the very order of life itself. On a stone pathway bathed in sunset light, the bearded elder kneels and explains their desperate situation. They need nature energy powerful enough to overwhelm dark magic and a skilled high elf to wield it. But when he mentions that the high elves went missing during the dimensional transfer, Jeongeum's grip tightens with realization. His quiet no carries the weight of crushing despair. They may have already lost their only hope. The elder confirms their worst fears. If someone is dead, nothing can be done. The Tree of Cosmos produces the necessary energy, but it requires 150 years to mature naturally. When asked about acceleration methods, he mentions repeated hardships and healing, but warns that ordinary attacks won't be effective. The young man's sweaty, tense expression shows he understands the impossible challenge they're facing. Pax's face brightens with sudden hope as he declares that healing from pain might be possible. His enthusiasm is infectious as he reveals having the perfect item to make it happen, Camelot itself. Around him, The glowing enchant stones pulse with vibrant energy, their production accelerated by the tree of Cosmos's powerful life force. For the first time in this crisis, genuine excitement replaces despair. Jeongjeom stands in the mystical chamber, anxiety written across his face as he contemplates their next steps. The ambient lighting casts eerie shadows as he prepares to burn through their enchant stone reserves. But when someone desperately calls for help and mentions needing a Class C enchant stone, his expression shifts to confusion and concern. The requirements keep getting more complex and more dangerous. Under the warm sunset light, frustration mounts as they examine their limited D-class enchant stones. The cheerful figure in the straw hat explains that dwarves are the only ones capable of crafting higher-class stones. This revelation hits like a sledgehammer. Without the dwarves' specialized skills, their enchant stones in Camelot are essentially worthless. Another roadblock in their increasingly desperate quest. The brown-haired girl offers a glimmer of hope, suggesting that dwarves might already be on Earth, hidden in unexplored mountain ranges. She expresses gratitude for saving their land, asking Jeongjeom to be more casual with her since she's already befriended his sisters. His flustered reaction to her mention of Lancelot reveals his nervousness around such formidable allies. The dynamic between them shifts from formal to playfully tense. Pax stands on a cliff overlooking a breathtaking sunset, contemplating their limited options. With no available routes and little he can do about their current predicament, he makes a bold decision. His confident grin spreads as he announces it's time to fly. The character in the brown hat reacts with alarm, questioning whether Pax really intends to cross the skies. The mood shifts from contemplative to urgently determined. The rugged man delivers chilling news. The federal government has collapsed, and America faces something far worse than political chaos. Monsters are lined up across the Pacific Ocean, creating an unprecedented threat. Jeongjeom gasps in shock, his wide eyes reflecting the gravity of this revelation. The sound of a fighter jet launching emphasizes the military's desperate response to this monstrous maritime invasion. Inside his cockpit, the masked pilot spots unidentified flying objects approaching fast. His training kicks in as he decides to avoid engagement and shift course to evade the mysterious aerial threats. But his evasive maneuvers prove futile. Explosive impacts rock the sky around him. The sound effects of blast and kaboom paint a picture of aerial combat gone catastrophically wrong. The dark-haired man reveals the devastating truth about the fighter-pilot incident. Only one pilot survived to bring back crucial footage of the monster encounter. His voice grows heavy with the weight of loss as he delivers the crushing blow. Not a single American soldier made it back alive. The younger man suggests James might finance a safe trip back, but the conversation's grim undertone reveals the true scope of this maritime catastrophe. Pax looks upward with clasped hands, his anxiety evident as he processes their dire situation. James sits confidently nearby, urging Pax not to give up and questioning why he thinks their task is impossible. Pax expresses doubt about the challenges posed by modern technology, while James tries to reassure him about his desire to return home. The tension between hope and despair plays out in their contrasting expressions. The youthful character proposes upgrading the turtle cruiser for their ocean voyage, his enthusiasm infectious as he gives a confident thumbs up. But internal tensions simmer as others question his leadership, noting that despite his powerful abilities, he's not actually their designated leader. The atmosphere blends excitement with underlying skepticism about his increasingly authoritative behavior. In the dimly lit military briefing room, a tense conversation unfolds about crossing the Pacific. The nervous young man faces a serious military officer who warns him about the chaos unleashed by dimensional changes. When he jokingly suggests taking bodyguards for safety, his foot stomps down with emphasis, revealing his underlying anxiety about the treacherous journey ahead. The weight of their Pacific crossing becomes increasingly real. Near the water's edge, two confident girls stand ready for the journey despite the seated boy's concerns about the poor forecast. The dark-haired girl in her black tank top and the braided blonde in green dismiss his warnings with casual confidence. Their light-hearted banter about tree planting and Rita's situation contrasts sharply with the boys' genuine worry about the troubles that await them on their maritime adventure. Thunder rumbles ominously as storm clouds gather, unleashing torrential rain upon them. The dark-haired young man reflects that this violent weather was common in Elvenheim, while the light-haired girl beside him remains surprisingly calm in the downpour. When he asks if she's really not coming inside, her response about having good reason to endure the storm hints at hidden strength. The fury of nature mirrors the challenges ahead. Inside the ship, Yang-soo playfully climbs the ladder, suggesting with casual humor that she might actually be enjoying the storm. His carefree attitude contrasts with the other character's irritation as he dismissively waves a hand and declares it's time for bed. Outside, the night sea rages with ferocious waves, lightning crackling across the sky as their vessel battles the elements. The storm's fury seems to mock their casual dismissal of its power. On the rocky shore, the white-haired young man admits his surprise at Earth's climate, confessing he may have underestimated its power. The rare storms of Elvenheim pale in comparison to this terrestrial fury. Meanwhile, the curly-haired boy's enthusiastic shout of "Woohoo! This is like a water park!" transforms the moment from apprehension to wonder as they witness the incredible strength of Earth's ocean waves. Ely stands defiant against the raging elements, declaring his determination not to lose as the leader of the elves. With lightning crackling around him, he challenges Mother Nature herself to face him in battle. But the narrator reveals a chilling truth. Ely has no idea what he's truly up against. The Pacific Ocean houses the planet's most ferocious storms, and this overconfident elf is about to learn Earth's terrible power firsthand. Lightning splits the sky as massive waves crash with devastating force. In the churning waters, a figure with light-colored spiky hair struggles desperately, their tattered green outfit marking them as a victim of the superstorm's wrath. The scene transitions from violent chaos to an eerily calm ocean, where their distant boat appears peaceful under the calls of circling gulls. Nature's fury has passed, leaving an unsettling tranquility in its wake. Yang-soo stands in the ship's interior, looking shocked and disoriented as creaking sounds fill the air. The two girls, one with braided brown hair in her black tank top, the other blonde in her green uniform, greet him with knowing expressions. When he frantically asks what happened during the night, the brown-haired girl's confident response of "a lot happened," while the blonde smirk suggests they weathered more than just the storm. Yang-soo climbs eagerly up the ladder, joking about someone trying to become the Pirate King, while Jeongjeom calls out to him with concern. The sunglasses-wearing character with slick-back hair lounges confidently in their modern surroundings, reassuring them about recent changes. The atmosphere feels light and humorous as they question whether abilities have been leveled up, suggesting their recent trials may have strengthened them in unexpected ways. The dark-haired boy in his navy jacket contemplates whether the drastic climate changes constitute a calamity as they walk along a sandy California path. Despite feeling uneasy about their arrival, he's relieved they made it safely after Yang-soo's all-night piloting. The blonde girl in her green crop top and the dark-haired girl in her black tank top accompany him as they plan to gather information without drawing unwanted attention. The tall, dark-haired man in his blue shirt hesitates about going alone, sweat beading on his worried brow. When another character urges him not to proceed solo, his shocked reaction to a sudden loud noise reveals his frayed nerves. The weight of not attracting attention while gathering crucial information creates palpable tension. His decision to send the others to change clothes shows the careful planning required in this dangerous territory. Yang-soo navigates the desolate urban wasteland, his footsteps echoing eerily in the empty streets. The absence of people and monsters alike creates a haunting ghost town atmosphere that chills him to the bone. When he discovers a fluttering flyer about a store-on-store war, focused on killing for survival, the reality of America's collapse becomes devastatingly clear. This isn't just abandonment, it's the aftermath of civil war. Yang-soo examines the scattered newspaper remnants with growing understanding. These are the remains of a brutal civil war that tore the states apart. His deduction reveals that America has fractured into two major powers, leaving vast swathes of territory completely abandoned. The intensity in his eyes as he processes this information shows the magnitude of what they've stumbled into. This is no longer the America they once knew. Jeong checks his phone with satisfaction, having found valuable intelligence just as the girls emerge in their carefully chosen disguises. The blonde girl's white button-up and uncomfortable hat draw playful commentary from her pink tracksuit companion, who jokes about standing out while complimenting her appearance. Jeong's impatience about ending their dress-up session shows his eagerness to move forward with their reconnaissance mission. Their vehicle speeds down the dusty road toward 49 Village, leaving a massive trail of dust in its wake. The chaotic driving prompts frustrated complaints about proper braking technique, with the passenger seat occupant defending the erratic driving as necessary after their previous driver lost their license. The light-hearted banter masks the tension of venturing into unknown territory where danger could lurk around every bend. Yang-soo and his companion approach a surprisingly well-maintained store in the desolate urban landscape, skeptical about whether it's actually operational. The building's cleanliness suggests someone has been caring for it, raising their hopes and suspicions simultaneously. As the door creaks open, revealing several people inside who stare back at the newcomers with surprise, the atmosphere shifts from cautious exploration to tense confrontation. They've found survivors, but are they friendly? Inside the dimly lit space, tensions explode as Yang-soo, a muscular man with gray hair and beard, glares menacingly at the newcomers. The blond young man's aggressive outburst, demanding to know what they're staring at, reveals the raw hostility simmering just beneath the surface. His repeated angry questions fill the air with confrontational energy, while the beam of light from the entrance creates a stark contrast between the oppressive interior and the outside world. The atmosphere completely transforms as the sturdy man in the white shirt recognizes fellow Koreans, his surprise melting into genuine warmth. Changwan Park bursts forward with infectious enthusiasm, his cowboy hat and wide grin radiating friendliness as he extends his hand for a hearty shake. The unexpected discovery of countrymen in this desolate place brings a moment of pure joy and connection amidst the chaos. Jeong introduces himself to the jovial, rugged man in the brown hat, who immediately invites him to join for drinks in the rustic bar setting. The camaraderie is infectious as they order 4 beers, but the conversation takes an ominous turn when the rugged man warns about local hostilities. His mention of armed groups and enchanted bullets transforms the casual meeting into a briefing about very real dangers lurking in this fractured America. In the warm tavern atmosphere, the cowboy serves warm beers while discussing the bizarre new economy where mana stones function as currency. Yang-soo's puzzled expression as he clarifies their Korean origins amuses the cowboy, who questions their naivety about the area's dangers. The conversation reveals their thrilling ocean journey, while highlighting the importance of staying inconspicuous in this transformed American landscape. The conversation turns serious when the dark-haired man asks about the Elysian mine's location. The cowboy's sudden intense glare reveals this is dangerous territory. The bar is filled with awakened individuals all seeking to crack the mine's secrets. His cautious response about the touchy subject and the powerful people present shows they've stumbled into something far bigger and more perilous than expected. The Korean visitor clarifies they're not after enchant stones but have business with the dwarves, which only deepens the local man's curiosity about why they can't enter the mine. Tension explodes when someone mutters about losing their gun, and a long-haired woman suddenly draws her weapon. Her threatening question about hidden enchant stones transforms the friendly tavern into a powder keg ready to explode. The confrontation they hope to avoid has found them. The rugged man makes a crude suggestion about pretty girls finding alternative payment methods, his leering grin making his implications clear. The armed young woman responds with dangerous understanding, while the red-haired boy interprets this as a challenge worth instant death. Her weapon flashes with lethal intent, and the sound of impact echoes as debris begins cascading from above. The tavern erupts into chaos as onlookers gasp in shock. Dongguan observes the chaos with exasperation, muttering about divine intervention as the situation spirals completely out of control. Characters dash for safety, while the stunned cowboy contemplates the absurdity of someone being launched through the roof with a regular uppercut. His disoriented expression reflects the complete bewilderment of witnessing such impossible strength. The friendly tavern meeting has become a showcase of superhuman power. The Korean team makes their hasty exit as Yang-soo calls desperately for them to wait. The pink-jacketed girl urges them to listen before leaving, while a brown-shirted local pants heavily as he tries to interrupt with crucial information. His insistence about knowing the route to their destination adds urgency to their escape. Even in retreat, vital intelligence might slip through their fingers if they don't stop to listen. The dark-haired young man's eyes light up as he reads about the Lishan mine opportunity in Arizona, excitement building as he realizes they're not far from their goal. The bearded man responds with confidence about seizing this chance, though he emphasizes the need for solid strategy. As eager crowds gather around their vehicle, the anticipation becomes infectious. Everyone wants a piece of the enchant stone fortune waiting in those mysterious mines. Outside the ominous cave entrance, the stocky man shouts for urgency as the group of explorers hurries into the darkness. Wooden stairs descend into unknown depths as unsettling echoes bounce off the walls. The narrow, maze-like paths could easily trap unwary monsters, but they also pose dangers for human explorers. The bearded man's alarmed expression suggests this mine holds far more peril than simple excavation. Deep in the cavern, a burly dwarf with a thick beard welcomes the newcomers to the Earth dimension, offering crafting services with friendly enthusiasm. The anxious-looking man thanks him appreciatively while holding a pickaxe, clearly out of his element in this underground world. Light-hearted banter about claiming the best crafting spots adds humor to the tense atmosphere, but the confusion on everyone's faces suggests they're entering something far more complex than expected. Chaos erupts as the muscular man in the white shirt aggressively confronts the group, demanding they leave immediately. The cowboy-hatted man humorously threatens to take compensation for his broken car, while accusations fly about disturbing the mine's gunpowder stones. His dramatic declaration that the world has ended raises the stakes to apocalyptic levels. In this fractured America, even a simple mining expedition becomes a life-or-death confrontation where everyone fights for survival. The confrontation reaches its breaking point when gunfire suddenly erupts through the cavern. The dark-haired thief grins at his stolen demon stones, while the bearded miner screams in fury about his lost treasure. But their petty squabble becomes deadly serious as bullets tear through the air. A gray-skinned creature emerges from the shadows, frantically asking Gordon about escape routes. The chaos has awakened something far worse than human greed. Lost in the maze-like tunnels, the stocky man desperately tries to navigate their escape route. His companion looks equally uncertain about which path leads to safety. Then horror strikes without warning. A grotesque creature with razor-sharp teeth lunges from the darkness, its jaws clamping down with a sickening chomp. Blood splatters across the cavern walls as a hulking shadow emerges, releasing a bone-chilling roar that echoes through the mine. The nightmare materializes before them, a towering skeletal figure with burning red eyes that pierce through the cavern's gloom. The burly bearded man freezes in absolute terror as his companion screams for everyone to run. Their desperate flight becomes a race against death itself when the skeleton's bony hand shoots out, grabbing the burly man in its deadly grip. His companion's anguished cry of "Gordon" echoes as their worst fears become reality. Outside the cursed mine, a bearded man with glasses reaches out in desperate panic, realizing his friend Dongguan is trapped inside. The dark-haired local explains grimly that no one who enters the mine ever comes back out alive. Despite his own fear, he offers to accompany the desperate man on what could be a suicide mission. The tunnel entrance yawns before them like the mouth of hell itself, promising only darkness and death. United by purpose and desperation, the unlikely group forms an alliance in the crystal-lit cavern. Jeongjeom steps forward with steely determination, promising they'll find the dwarves while rescuing the missing friend. The blonde woman, the cowboy, and the others gather behind him, their faces set with grim resolve. But as they prepare to venture deeper into the mine's deadly depths, one question haunts them all. Will any of them survive what lurks in the darkness below?